out of it. We had the Minister of Labour putting in some scores on the board. On the bowling end, we had the Minister of Trade. He had 1 or 2 knocks at the wicket. Successful thus far. He's still in the wicket. He hasn't been bowled out yet. Coming in to replace the Minister of Trade today is the Minister of Public Administration and AI. He will be on the bowling end, while the Minister of Trade still on the batting end, putting in a good innings, have some challenges, some moistures on the wicket and so forth. I must say good afternoon to my colleagues, Mr. Rolox, Steve Matteson. I know they're on matters of state, but they will be joining us. They will be joining us very shortly to continue the evaluation of the pitch. We have spoken of the batsmen so far. There are also bowlers in this series. There are also bowlers in this series that we have to evaluate the sort of delivery coming from the bowlers and how effective those deliveries are. If they just train, underhand, what we call flower pot bowling, or we getting some good off break. So far, I've seen some balls being bowled, but the batsmen seem to be settling down in the wicket. I'm seeing some good deliveries taking place in terms of offensive, bowling good on the offensive. I'm seeing good defensive batting taking place. Some people, I see a man pelt a ball. I think he might go before the privilege committee because he pelt the ball instead of bowl the ball. And does totally break the rules of engagement for this cricket match. We have to continue examining all the bowlers just to make sure the rules of engagement are maintained by all and sundry. People in the pavilion, you have a role to play. Your chairs or your jairs will determine how the delivery is taking place on the field, be it by the batsmen or the bowlers. If you're pelting cups with water at the players or the cricketers, if you're waving your flag, beating your drums, if you bring water in your cooler or you bring nutritious beverages in your cooler, the way you settle in that pavilion to a large extent will tell us if the match is going your way or it is not going your way. Your involvement, your input, and your participation to a large extent will determine if the bowlers are bowling good and you're satisfied with the bowling, or the batsmen are batting good. We want to engage you, the pavilion, from time to time during the program. We want to engage you, we want you to participate. We want to know that you're satisfied with the evaluation that is taking place by the third umpires. We want to really know. You're satisfied, you'll find that the third umpires, they're being biased, they're sideways, they're taking a side, or they're cheating. Although when they watch the screen, the man really get LBW and they say, I had some spots on the screen so they didn't see. I want to know, are we biased in your opinion? Are we reading it straight? Are you satisfied with the evaluation from the third umpires? We want to know from the pavilion. So early in this opening match here, I'll give the numbers to call in because we want to engage you all. We want you all to participate. We want to do this together, right? We want to do this together. We want to make sure that all and sundry enjoy this inning. Be the feelers, sometimes people who feeling could be enjoying the match as much as the people who's batting and the people who's in the pavilion. Yeah? So I'll give the numbers to call. People in the pavilion, 342-0081, 466-5391, and 771-1791. Pavilion people, engage, participate. We have to evaluate this match. We want to make sure we didn't waste our time buying all that drinks and paying all this price for this ticket to come and watch a match and half of us falling asleep in the pavilion, we all talking, and some fellas in the corner, they start a little wappy in the corner, and they say watching the match, because the match ain't making sense. So we have to make sure the match makes sense. So on the bowlers end, we have the Minister of Public Administration. I know he's new to cricket match. At this level, he probably plays some village cricket and so forth. He probably play, you know, long time we had the, where we take the coconut branch and we cut and we make a bat in the village and so on, and we cut two stick and stick in the sand, right? So we want to know that the batsman called public admin has been so trained, has been so given the level of tutelage to put on a good innings, and he not batting still with coconut branch bat. And hopefully it's a bat that was signatured by probably somebody like Holden or Lara or Sobers, who sign on a bat and say this bat meet the standards for proper delivery and hitting and so forth to take place. Yeah? We know he's new to the wicket. He comes into the game. I know he started off running early in the game. I saw him on one or two stages and so forth. But he have a mammoth task if he have to support the batsman, the batsman on the receiving end. Because the batsman on the receiving end have an economic challenge, what we call a challenge of turnaround. You have to try and turn around an economy and make it make sense. He have to put some innings on the ball, but he can't do it by himself. His two man had to be batting here now. He have to create the framework for human capital to be able to respond to the needs of the batsman who is called Trade Minister. He'll be structuring, as we discussed last evening, he'll be structuring a whole profile, a profile of engagement, a profile of invitation, a profile of memorandums and articles of association, a profile that says we are open for business, a profile that says we are accommodating, a profile that demonstrates ease of doing business have increased significantly, that people are welcome. But all of this are only statement without public admin having in his cadre the skill set to make what trade is speaking a reality. Both hands have to be synchronized in this game called cricket that is being played right now. We as the Third Empire will be evaluating deeply the level of preparedness, what is needed. I don't know if a SWOT assessment was done or a PESTLE assessment was done by the admin batsman. I don't know if he did any evaluation of what he's getting involved in, the nature and the level of preparedness, the realignment and the restructuring, if any, based on any assessment, or he just went in the wicket and say, wherever ball come, I batting, man, I batting. I know if I have on one pads on, if I have on two pads, if I leave, forget my socks. I don't know his level of preparedness for this. He came out batting. I don't know, but he only faced a few innings and so forth. I know if the Yorkers, fellas bowling the Yorkers, come out at him yet. Or they're watching his style, his position and his setup. I don't know. He have to deal with modernizing the public service. But that could only come from a proper SWOT analysis of the public service. A proper PESTLE in sense that are the burgesses, are the recipient, are the customers of the public service that exists in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider community that engage in some form or the other, interacting with the public service. Are they ready, willing, and able? Have he created a cadre of personnel? Yes? Or he believes there is a cadre of personnel that is ready, willing, and able to undertake, yeah? Or, let me rephrase it, or take advantage of the opportunities that trade wants to bring on the table. Trade could bring it, you know. But there's a saying, It doesn't make sense throwing pearls to swine. We have to be mindful. So trade could open up a number of doors, a number of opportunity, create a number of synergies, free trade agreement, removal of tariff, expand the economic zone that was formerly the free zone that we had, expand it, yeah. But if we don't have that catchment, a knowledge-based catchment of people in the public service to facilitate those opportunities, then we train pearls to swine. So trade will just be frustrated and start swinging some shot missing ball. He don't care if he continues, so he might kick down his thumbs, all kind of thing, in frustration. And public admin have to make sure that trade tell him run and stand up and watch him get ball out because he has supported him nice. We have to be mindful of that. So trade, in terms of your evaluation, you must look at modernizing the public service to meet the modern day economic challenges that face not only Trinidad and Tobago but the global market. So many years ago, I remember there was a UN standard about 20 years ago where there was a ratio given in terms of international best practice. There's a ratio to computer. I think computer was now being a critical tool in the public service, and there was a ratio. There should be at least one computer available to every 5 persons in the public service, as the case may be. There's this ratio that was done. I remember having around 900 public servants do computer training, computer literacy training and so forth. That was about 20 years ago. Because we were understanding the dynamics of and the role of the public service in terms of having effective government, governance, and delivery of a world-class and a first-class service to the customers, yeah, that faces, be it a Ministry of Education, Legal Affairs, Ministry of Health, and so forth, yeah. So those were some of the benchmarks that I used and so forth in my evaluation of best practice. I don't know if best practice is something that is still practiced in the public service or applied in the public service in terms of how do we prepare our team. I like to call them a team. Or team of public servants or team of employees in those ministries to deal with their clients. Their clients are the man of the street, and the clients to a large extent, let me be mindful, the clients of the public service is your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your brother, your mother, your father. So when there's an indictment in terms of delivery of service, it's really an indictment from your own family on your preparedness to deliver quality service, goods and service. I must say good afternoon to my colleagues, Mr. Rolox, Empire. Greet the people, Empire.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I've been listening, and as we discuss this issue of public admin and the role public admin will play in this particular match, in this particular innings. You know, there's a saying that says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And definitely, we have to be very cognizant and very open and honest about what we call culture in Trinidad and Tobago, especially when it comes to service and public service. The jury is out whether all aspects of this culture all aspects are positive or negative. But definitely, we will have to engage in some type of paradigm shift. But I think we need to trace the process. I think it's important to explore the process by which this can be done or may be attempted by those in government. Obviously, there's a dissonance between their leadership and the workers actually in the workforce, in the office. But how do you translate this new vision? How do you tell people, listen, come to work, you take a half day, it should be 3/4 day? Things that we ball, nah man, it's Trinidad. You know, you say that, nah man, it's Trinidad. They ain't opening, they say they're opening 9, but they're really opening 9 9:45. It's Trinidad. It's Trinidad. We're working so hard for. Don't kill out yourself. It's Trinidad. Is a long weekend. You know, I recently was exploring some simple administrative rules in another jurisdiction, right? And my friends were telling me that if there's a holiday on a Friday, they can't take Thursday off by law. They can't, because it's already a holiday. Nor can they take Monday off. It wasn't left up to them, it's legislated. You take your holidays, so you take Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you take your weekend. But the way how we make it a long weekend and an even longer weekend, that's regulated. Some may say it's draconian, but if you're managing a public service, if you're managing from a business point of view, you may want to institute some things that might be quite bitter. You know, are we ready to take that bitter medicine? Are we ready? Who is really having that conversation? Is it a top-down conversation that you could have? I mean, you really will have to appeal to good conscience and apply the letter of the law to different spaces within the public service. And that is easier said than done. Half-day work, we dress down, you know, don't mind that. We will get our Monday, don't ignore us, I will fix it up Monday. You know, and it really has to do with our culture. Most of us go to work for the same time and we leave at the same time. What does that mean? That means if one of us has to go to the bank, you know, unless we wouldn't get into online banking and all these things now, 5 of us might be missing. Because what time does the bank close? Does the bank close before work or after work? Like what happens when we travel? We could go in the bank after work. It doesn't really matter. It's Saturday morning, you could get up and go to the bank. But if 3 of us needs to go to the bank for whatever reason, you know, most likely that's 3 people will be missing from their desks. And we know how fast the service is.
So what you're saying to a large extent is that this public admin batsman, to a large extent, have to understand behavior science.
Correct.
You have to understand culture and how culture impacts on the efficacy and efficiency of service.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, during my tenure in looking at the government service to a large extent, I can't remember, and probably I missed it, if any ministry ever went on, did a retreat. Yes, I did a retreat. Local government did a retreat about 20 years ago. We had a retreat with all, well, like I said, 80% of the ministry. We had a 2-day retreat where our attempt was really and truly to align the ministry so everybody will be on the same page. We had from the minister was in the retreat, by the way. It wasn't workers, you know, the minister was there, the permanent secretaries were there, the AO4, A2, managers, staff, everybody was in the retreat. Yes?
Yes.
And we were looking at decision-making process, methodology, process mapping, delivery of service, looking at the feedback loop from customers and so forth, what they're saying, what we should fine-tune to improve the quality of service and so forth. That's 20 years ago. I don't know if there was a follow-up, because 20 years a number of persons would have left the ministry and so forth. I don't know if other ministries would do a retreat to ensure that that vision and that mission that is laid out by the cabinet and the line minister is understood by all and sundry, because there are people who really understand what we're here for, you know. I'm here. But the message is not driven down into the belly and the bowels of the organization. So you get passion. There's no passion. I come to work, okay, they say, well, we had to write our form, when the man come check the form. I know why you checking the form for. Where's the benefit or where's the outcome? And that total buy-in needs to be. So we had to really rethink how worker engagement supposed to be structured to get some more effective delivery. Your take?
Yes, and that's right. And it calls for not just only a collaborative approach, as you suggested, and that is very commendable. And I know, all things considered, with scarce resources and money, you know, that is a very laudable approach taken there in that circumstance. And it was good to know that, you know, this vision by, you know, that particular ministry, they took the time to communicate that with the workers.
Yeah.
And this is where you need the Minister of Public Admin and the batsman, as we'll put it in this, and the Minister of Labor to have a discussion. Because as the callers hinted yesterday, some see unions being counterproductive to progress. Now, being involved in union work.
But who is union?
Myself.
Union is workers, eh?
Yeah, but being involved with union work myself, one would have to understand the remit of a union, especially into protecting the rights and terms and conditions of the workers, which I find quite legitimate.
Yeah, of course.
But I believe in if we're talking about productivity, that could be the goal. That's a joint goal.
Yeah.
But there will be certain things that one would have to study, and we could find the empirical data to support it. So, for instance, I can say that with my little exposure, for instance, in the teaching service, right? And we're talking about a teaching service with about 14,000 teachers, right?
Okay.
And you're looking at 14,000 teachers and you're looking at 10,000 women. That's about the ratio.
Oh.
Now, 10,000 females in a service. There's no higher demographic of females in any other sector of the public service.
Okay.
Right?
Excellent.
They're not 10,000.
Good data. That's excellent data, man.
You would find endemic in this circumstance particular types of leave being accessed because it's predominantly female.
Yeah.
Right? You have maternity leave being accessed and issues regarding that.
Yeah.
You would have different types of illnesses that women go through,
Yeah.
and peculiarities, and this type of thing, which can account. And remember, these women are teachers and mothers.
Yes.
There's no mother leave. What happens when your child is sick? When your child is sick as a mother, you just have to do what you have to do. So I think we don't really need adversarial approaches to solving our problems. If we do the correct studies and we understand in developed and other developed places, there are all types of leave open to a worker.
Yeah.
And there are all types of relationships. God, I do have teaching friends in Norway and in other jurisdictions, and they teach as they please. Matter of fact, they encourage not to teach whole year. Take some time off. Deal with your family. And because that is planned and structured, they can therefore cater for absences. Good?
Yeah.
Because it's structured. It's not, you don't have to thief time. You don't have to say, I get them, I take it out 2 weeks. No, it's structured.
Yeah.
It's structured, and they encourage it in the system. And because of the different types of leave accessible, they could plan the system without disruption. Learning is not hindered.
Yeah.
So that's a different type of conversation. And I think going forward, the batsman in this case needs to have a different type of conversation.
Yeah.
Understanding very well that you don't want to tolerate slackness per se, but you have to understand the history of what we have called the public service and culture, what we have been taught.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a little corner to turn.
Yeah, because yesterday one of the person in the pavilion talk about the regulation, what time they go for lunch and this and that and the other.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that if we understand our role, which I do feel most of them understand their role in the public service, and they understand the plight of their customers, yeah, we can really rethink how we position, how we retool, how we train, and how we prepare that level of staff to engage, yeah, in a quality management process, yeah, that says good delivery, as the case may be. I like to talk about empathy, I like to talk about ethics and so forth, and how they do the thing. But what I'm saying is that the union is workers,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, interestingly enough, a worker who is in the public service is also a customer to the public service, but he might have to go to the next ministry for service,
Correct.
And I'm sure in his mind, when he go to the next ministry, and he may or may not experience a poor quality service. I wonder if he reflect on and say, I wonder if that has happened by me, boy. But he's my colleague. Should I say, hey, what you doing, boy? We are looking good. Yeah. Do they see all of them as a team as a public service, or they see themselves in silos. Well, once we go, that is them, you know. But when the label pass, the label say what? Public service.
Public servants.
Public servants, and so forth.
And it's unfortunate because I know that we can do better as a country.
Yeah.
And we want better, and we have to understand what we are teaching the younger people.
But who should start doing better? I was listening to a program on radio some time ago, and they were talking about other countries and so forth. Finland they were talking about, and China and so forth, and how the people they would litter the road, and how I saw a football match with it was playing China, and someone was playing the football match, and after the football match, the spectators, the Asian spectators, Chinese spectators, they actually pick up all the garbage in the stadium. So when the stadium was empty, it was clean. They towed their garbage out with them.
Well, we seem not to be willing to copy the good things that we see. You know? we always hear that can't work here.
You know, long time in school, we had to clean our classrooms and so forth.
Yeah.
But it wasn't punishment, you know. It was demonstrating a level of responsibility. This is our class. It is our responsibility when we finish to clean the board, to sweep out the thing, make sure the garbage is empty. Yeah. It was life skill we were being taught, you know. People see that my child come to clean no school, and people understand the importance of those life skills and so forth that were being taught, were being placed in the minds of children that, hey, when you finish, if somebody else may come to use this classroom, you know,
yes.
Let them realize like nobody came here for the day.
Yes.
They must believe so when they come. And that culture was watch now. We had so much things that we put aside for whatever reason or the other that is now haunting us and hurting us today.
One of my first visits to the Parkway in Brooklyn in Labor Day, I wasn't a participant, I wasn't a reveler, but I was astonished when I was watching the parade. You know what I saw? I saw people dancing and whining and having a good time going in one direction. You know who was behind them?
The cleaners was behind them.
The police.
The police was behind them.
And you know who's behind the police? Sanitation.
Yeah.
Go that way.
Yeah.
Don't go the other way. We're going that way. You could have a ball going that direction.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice. They didn't leave it up to you. You were going that way, so you have a particular order, even in terms of the revelry. You understand? They were having a good time still, but it had a particular type of order to it. And then you see the sanitation, because obviously you have workers who, again, even in our carnival, remember, we still have workers, we still have the corporation workers, and these people who do a lot of, you know, layman's task that we don't really see. You know, we just come to party and we know, but these workers still make carnival happen. These lay workers, these corporation workers who are responsible for cleaning up the next day and getting rid of the garbage and, you know, taking care of some of the refuse. So this shift that we want to see in the public service in terms of what you've described as ethic and attitude has to be carefully communicated. But we must also appreciate that even when you look at the examples that we draw of best practice, the fact is that they start these things with children.
Yeah.
They don't try to convert the adults. They don't. We have to invest in the children, in the youth. If, you know, that's where it starts. It must start there.
Yeah.
If you miss certain things in primary school, I remember I say to people, if you're not afraid, and I'm using afraid quote unquote of a teacher, you wouldn't free a policeman. Because the first encounter we all had as youths, as young people, as toddlers, was a teacher who we were very afraid of.
So coming and you run and hide.
That is where
you don't want to see you doing something wrong.
Correct.
Right now they're pelting cuff at sir.
We have to change. We have to shift that our ideas and our ethics, and as you say, we must understand that somebody else will share this space. That's a different thinking, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's beyond us, but it will really call for us to be very conscious, each one, you know. You can't throw your fridge in
the river.
The river.
And when it flood, blame the government, blame the executive.
Yeah, you can't.
So the government is doing, and this, I listened to this program sometime on the radio, and everybody tend to blame the executive and say, well, the minister this and the minister this and the government this and the government that. And, you know, we ask the simple question, well, all the plastic bottle that you see going down the highway by those stores on the, I don't call no company name, on the highway, in the rivers and so forth. I wonder, well, who put it there?
Yeah.
It's really people who put it there to a large extent, and this is something that, as we continue, those people in the pavilion had to be mindful.
Yes, that's where the 12
of the action. The 12th man had to be mindful of
yes,
his action, because we
tend
to blame the batsman and the bowlers
all the time.
But then them in the pavilion doing some naughty things.
Correct.
And then say, now watch deflecting now, and saying, watch them on the field, well, how they batting, how they bowling. That no. If the 12th man, if you all start to do the right thing the first time around, we don't have a problem with the batsman. We'll have a nice little innings taking place there, you know, and hold each to account. Yeah.
That discussion, we must have some shared responsibility.
We must, you know, as the batsmen going to bat, I believe they should tell us what to expect from them. Yes. Individually.
Yes.
I want to measure you against something. I mustn't assume that you going, you know, you're in some boxing match, you say, I go and knock him out in the 3rd rounds. Yeah. So we have an expectation. He warming up. 2nd rounds. 3rd rounds is Bacchanal. Get the popcorn there, brother. Bacchanal going and start. 3rd rounds, he going and get knocked out, right? That was the man say. What is the expectation? To hold the batsmen accountable for something. I'm going to hit 100. You see, this match, I'm going to hit 100, so I'm holding it. All right, let me see how we batting, how we settling down. You can make the 100 now, but the way you swinging there, you're only looking at 30 runs, as the case may be. We yet to hear specifically what is the vision and mission of the batsmen when they go into bat. We know the bowlers and them have one mission, you know, to lick them down, you know.
Correct.
Whether they scooch them, pell them, bowl running overhand, underhand, kick the ball, pull out a stump. We know the bowlers going and try all kind of thing to lick down them batsmen, eh? For sure. Right? We had to watch them and call them to account. We had to call them to account because, see, one of them bowl a ball the other day. When he say, sub Judy, and the next one, say what? Wasn't so. So he in a little sticky position now. Yeah? And he is being evaluated by the 12th man and them. Public admin, batsman. The whole economy evolved around how that whole team behaves. Success or failure. Because remember, the batsman from labor, he had to rely on who? Public service.
Correct.
The man in trade, the batsman from trade, he had to rely on who? Public service. You understand? Yeah. And all the batsmen come and have a level, yeah, of dependency on this man that is on the bowling end called public administration right now.
Yes,
and how he prepares that team who's cooking the food.
Let's appreciate that discussion could bring this squad, because there's a tough and frank comment discussion, you know.
Yeah.
Because remember, you have, even though you have only 10% union density, you have, for instance, the PSA, which is numerically the largest union. And a lot of the clerks, a lot of the clerical staff, administrative staff are members of that union. And they would have particular expectations, good, based on their, you know, past collective agreements or unsettled collective agreements. But apart from that, they would have certain concerns of working conditions.
Yes.
And it will be fair for the labor batsman to demand is, listen to me, you want more productivity, you want better work quality, please address.
It must be balanced. Terms and conditions must be balanced.
Please address some of these work conditions. And we're not talking about working conditions, terms and conditions in terms of remuneration only. We're talking about the conditions in which we run some of these public services.
Yes.
You go in a building, you see a pan collecting water under the AC unit. Then somebody tell you, We leave $5 in our box because we're putting up to buy paper.
Yeah, toilet paper in the washroom and a toilet
Crazy.
paper.
Craziness. The conditions under which, you know, sometimes you have magic, right? But if you look at excellence and high achievement as an institutionalized process, and look at the conditions under which excellence is achieved, you realize we're joking here, you know. We're joking. We're joking.
Wow.
When you visit other places and basic stuff, not wonder of the world, but how we really, and hats off to those workers, we really have some hard workers who make magic.
Yes.
Who bring in their own ink.
Yes.
For the government printer.
Police service.
Correct.
Say walk with some paper when you come in there.
Yeah. We really have some.
Walk with some paper.
So the minister of or the batsman in public admin has to really take a good stock.
Yeah.
Of what is, because a lot of workers as well, we have those who are truant, we know, but a lot of workers are doing more than their fair share.
Yeah.
They're holding up some of these ministries.
Yes.
And I have a pet peeve with absentee landlords. I have a pet peeve with ministries where you can't find anybody in charge. You go there, he not meeting. What about the person next in line? He not meeting too. He need same meeting. What about the person above them? Well, he needs same meeting with both of them. Everybody in meeting. Everybody in meeting. Everybody going on trip. Good. And what happening to the farm? What happening to the family? Havoc. Chaos. So we really have two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
We have to fix some of the things. We have to have a serious discussion with labor about productivity.
Yeah.
About waste. You know, about taking advantage of a system.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be eligibility or entitlement of different things. We have those things, and we must agree and admit and be honest about those things. But we must also admit that we have some magicians in the public service that do a lot. They do more. They go far beyond than which they are resourced for. And that must not be. That must not be the way we do work. That must not be the way we want the public service to work. Let us provide the conditions for excellence, for good service. No, but that ain't working, President Abnick. That ain't working neither. What working?
Yeah.
You imagine you calling government officers and they tell the phone cut. That's the state. The phone cut, they didn't pay the bill, they owing this one, they owing that one. They having a cake sale, ministry or whatever department having a cake sale to raise funds, to provide resources for work. Not for personal things, you know. For work.
Yeah.
You know? So really and truly, this gentleman needs to be informed. He needs to have a lot of data.
Yeah.
He needs to take stock, take a good look. Do a good audit of what exists. Where are the kinks in the system, as you have always say, identify the kinks and have a discussion about the way forward, because it's a tough discussion.
Yeah, because I listen to some of the batsmen that are still in the pavilion there watching the game, and I'm hearing some chattering and some talk coming from them.
Yes.
I mean, I'm hearing that them guys saying, and they're coming out to swing, you know.
Yeah.
That the public service have been doing procurement without cabinet approvals and so forth, and are trying to figure out if the public service or somewhere or someone inside there went rogue.
Yes.
You understand? So there's the level of, I'm hearing about rental and no lease and no contract and no cabinet approval. All of this you have to manage and pull back and rein in, you know, to a large extent, you know.
Yes, that's why I said it's going to be a tough discussion, because it's hard to give up these kind of things that we are accustomed to.
Well, I don't want to say how did it reach, just suffice it to say we are here now.
Yes.
The question is, how do we turn the ship around, really and truly, and make sense out of everything? And we know, to a large extent, the public service, they are the gatekeepers.
Yeah, they are.
They are the gatekeepers, and if the gatekeepers fell asleep on the job or participating and the men jumping the fence, giving them ladder and throwing rope and switching off the lights for men to jump over the fence, then he have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, in my line of expertise, one of the most troubling things, and we hinted at this before, is what we call the parallel public service, where we have the same amount of public service workers also working alongside contract workers. Good? So promotion is stymied. That will cause discipline issues. Because when you try to discipline, and that's why people have to understand it's really not all the time the union fault. Because when you try to discipline a worker, good? But the person you try to discipline is a permanent worker, the person you try to apply the discipline is there are all sorts of problems with this parallel public service that we have introduced. When people don't know when work's starting, when it's stopping. 1 minute you see them for 3 months, next minute they go on missing, them and leave, and they come back, and it's all sorts of craziness. And to be honest, sometimes there are vacancies. The post does exist. But we have done that to manipulate work, to stockpile with friends and family, to give patronage. Good? And we have done that. Nobody can do that on us.
What we have done to a large extent, I'll tell you what we have done. We have made bad guidelines, bad rules, bad regulation. And when it come to haunt us, we then say, hey, let's set up a special purpose company because we can't deal with them fellas and them. But all those fellas, boys and girls who are out there, just working to rule, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I work in a company once that said, let me tell you something, You know, union, some negotiation going on, and the union say, well, from next week we're going to work to rule. I know the company say, well, that will we hire all to do, you know, work to rule.
Yeah.
We want a favor from all you. Come and work to rule.
Yeah.
But we have done such a hodgepodge in terms of defining the rules, the regulation, the guidelines for the public service, and we never allow it to evolve or let those rules evolve, that some of it haunting us. So instead of fixing the problem or confronting it, we say, let's create a special purpose company and we just pass all the contracts through that and we can hire some people on contracts so they'll do our bidding, so we have to deal with them public servant and them.
Yeah.
And we never fix the problem.
Never.
But from time to time it will jump up and haunt you.
Yes.
Because by law, they exist for a reason.
And all unions basically do is insist
work to rule
on what is.
What is. So unions are not bad in that regard,
They don't really
you know.
invent anything.
No.
You see, some of us will not understand and appreciate it because we don't understand the rules by which we work. So all the union doing is quoting the rules. The rules are always there.
Exactly so. And who make the rules can live with the rules that they make for the worker, because from time to time, the level of incompetence, and we have to face it frontally, that exists in management to a large extent, bring about that, we know we say that, you know, but I'm do that across the and do, and the man say, well, that, you know, in my job description, you know, because the job description was made, I know, by a barber or some kind of thing, right, for engineers, because when you try to define now exactly what the outcome you want from that person, the job description is far removed. So when the worker now is holding you to account and say, I'm working to the rules by which you engage me, and you can't live with it because you want him to bend and twist and so forth, you vex with him. You say, all right, I'm going to have 2 months on contract, so then we'll do what I want. But we have to get away from that and fix which is wrong and stop trying to get away and get a wrong, right? That which is the right thing, that which is the rules that you made for those workers to perform.
So you're going in a public service space and you say, you ask 5 workers, how long you here? I here 5 years. How long you here? I on a 3-month contract. The next one, how long you here? I on a year-to-year contract.
Yeah. What is that really?
You understand? It's crazy.
What's that?
So when you come back again, you're not sure to see those workers, you know?
Yeah.
Where the girl was handling my matter,
She contract up.
She contract up, you
Bring
know.
our next fella. You're trying to figure out what's going on.
You had to start from, because the file we still writing on folder page.
Yeah.
Because the file big, so all the paper lost.
Yeah.
The paper lost. The paper, she write it down. Oh gosh, listen to me. When she leaves, she clear out her desk, you know. She clear out her desk. So let me see if I can help you. So you have to tell that story all over.
The worker on vacation, and we know where they put the file.
Yes.
So you have to wait till they come back from vacation, because when they call them, we are going to him like, yo, the country.
The keys.
Yeah.
And all these kind of things, those are not things that are beyond us.
No, it's not.
It's
and
not
that's what I'm saying. The worker, if you want to say something, in terms of basic, simple things of process mapping, in terms of when you go to work, what you do, when you do, and how you do, a worker come really willing, ready, willing, and able to work, you know, to take instruction, to perform, you know, and deliver, you know. He's proud to deliver. He feel accomplished, you know. But if you don't create that environment for him to be effective and efficient, for him to feel at the end of the day, I had about 40 people smiling and happy, leaving my office, my domain, and so forth. He don't feel accomplished. He feel, oh, I go there and oh gosh, them and all this. Public servant talk about the public service and they are all that daunted, and my God. But don't blame them, you know. We as leaders, as managers, as ministers, as batsmen, have to create that environment to achieve the deliverables that we want. And don't try and create special purpose company, and don't try and bring in a set of people on contract, because the public service is a rigid system in terms of the interview process and what process and qualification process. But if you follow the process, have a partner, them can't get no work. So here we are to do. Let me create a thing there. My partner and them go get a job, as the case may be. When there's inefficiencies now, everybody start to point finger all about the place and so forth. Yeah?
And as you quite rightly said, some of it is family members. Some of it is family members. So the 12th man, in this case, in this scenario, they're very important. Yeah. They're very, very important as watchdogs.
Yeah.
They're very important.
That is the customer, you know.
Yeah.
12th man is the customer, you know.
As service people, they are very important as customers. They're very important in pointing out the kinks in the system. Because it doesn't have to be adversarial to say that this is not working. Yeah. You don't need to cuss and threaten to bring your cut glass. Look how long you're here. We don't need to, you know, to say that you're not satisfied.
Check yet, so long I done the work.
Yeah, and I go bond on this place.
I'm a workers to pay.
Yeah. And it's a family member you're threatening, you know.
Yeah.
You didn't know that auntie cousin son. Like auntie cousin son from South.
Yep.
You didn't know that you're a family.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. We the people.
We the people.
People in the pavilion, let me just shout out to them a little bit.
Yes.
Don't forget, you all have a role to play in this. 342-0081 466-5391 771-1791.
Yes,
engage, participate.
We're coming up to a drinks break.
Yeah, the coolers are out. I see those fellas.
The covers are on. We get some light drizzle.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break shortly and allow the players to refresh themselves. You know, there's been a hard opening.
A very hard opening. A very
hard opening. The wicket is unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Very, very unpredictable.
Yeah.
A lot of tough talk.
Yeah.
A lot of gestures between the batsmen and the bowlers.
Yes.
The bowlers threatening to out down the side.
Yeah.
Say their siding no good.
With any means necessary.
Yeah, they say their siding no good. That is what they say. Yeah. They say runs on the board.
That side promise all kind of 100 runs, but they don't see them moving off the stumps. We only looking at singles.
They're trying to chain up, as we say, the 12th man. Tell them, there's the team all they bring. There's the team all you vote for. There's the team.
We want to go back and bat.
Yes.
We can give all more balls.
Correct. More runs.
More runs.
Correct. So we really looking at this game while the covers come on and the coolers come out for drinks and the batsmen and the bowlers take a little break. We will go pay some bills.
Definitely.
We will definitely pay some bills.
Because we have some coolers, some drinks in the coolers we had to pay for, you know.
Yes, and in the next segment, we will just settle the discussion and we'll take calls in our next hour.
Yeah.
And tell me about your own feeling, your own encounter with the workers in the public service.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with several boot camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17, come enjoy Children Iron Chef competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
For the month of June, registration will only be $50 to book your space, and you can pay the tuition fee before the start of camp.
TNT, get ready, get hungry, and get to the hut because it's lunchtime! From pizzas to pastas, breadsticks to cinnamon rolls, Pizza Hut's all-you-can-eat lunch buffet is all yours for only $55. Sundays to Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and extended to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Check socials for info on selected locations nationwide and take your hunger to the hut. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
Ikaro, I am Alatumishe Ifabamishe Aganki, better known as MC Duke. And
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight,
I host a show called Orisha, The Way of Life, right here on the Sheet 919 FM, where I have guests passing through from the Orisha Ifa Baptist Diaspora to educate, edify, and inform you, the listening public, about Orisha Ifa practices. So remember to tune in
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight
for Orisha, The Way of Life.
Don't miss June savings at Furniture Plus. Get up to 50% off shop appliances, furniture, electronics, mattresses, and more. Buy now, pay later with affordable higher purchase plans. Plus, earn Caribbean Airlines. Travel miles with your purchase. Visit any Furniture Plus stores or shop online.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM radio. Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 125 to 186 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna. For the program Health and Healing, merging the old with the new, with Mr. Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on the Street 919 FM.
Whoever said messy was a bad thing totally missed the point. Take that hit song everyone loves now. It probably started like this. Baby, calm down. That's why KFC is celebrating the messy moments with our Messy Cruncher and Messy Zinger sandwiches for only $34.95. Imagine a crunchy, golden brown, flavorful chicken sandwich sauced to perfection with our signature sweet, spicy, tangy sauces. Oh boy. So crunch into the deliciously messy moments today. Check socials for details. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Join the winning team with Pastor Alkaline John
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on the street 919 FM as he talks about Lviv, the power of 5 fruits, one of the most powerful antioxidant supplements on the market today. The 5 superfruits in Lviv are mangosteen, acai, pomegranate, goji, and nuni. These fruits have a positive and profound impact on human health performance and disease. Join him as he gives live testimonials of the Lviv healing powers. To get more information, you can contact Pastor Alkaline John at 516-286-7079 or you can visit his webpage at www.alkalinejohn.com. Remember,
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on the street 919 FM.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Get interactive with us. Call now and be part of the show. Don't miss out. Dial 466-5391 or 342-0081 and join the conversation today. The Street 919 FM, where your opinion matters.
Oh, we back from the drinks. We back.
Yeah.
And as you've heard the numbers, 342-0081, 466-5391, and 771-1791. And in about 5 minutes or so, we will open the lines. You could chime in and tell us about your experience and what are your thoughts for this public service reform. What do you think are the areas of that in desperate needs? And we want to keep the discussion solution oriented because we know the 12th man is important. You have the solutions out there. You understand? We are the umpires, but you are the experts. You are the observers. You visit these offices. You see what happened. And you can make some good suggestions and solutions as to how we could turn this thing around. How we could get this engine started. So we really want it not to be a complaint section. This is not the Public Service Complaints Authority. Good? You could point an issue. Definitely highlight the issue. But tell us in your own words, in your own way, how you think we could fix it or how you think we could start a turnaround.
Now, we have to be mindful, this batsman responsible for AI also, eh? Also responsible for AI, and I haven't seen, probably he has it, I don't know, his strategy for capacity building. If you go into an AI-driven economy to a large extent, there will be recipients or end users of that AI solution. And are we looking at a computer literate society? Yeah? And that capacity building mustn't be internal, but external customers must have capacity to so use the tools that you're making available to them to a large extent. So again, we're looking for that all-round strategy from the batsman in terms of how this whole system will evolve, yeah, to a productive one, internal and external, in terms of building a strategic AI policy and a governance system and a governance model for AI in the economy and so forth. How are we doing that? Now, I will help him, you know. I shouldn't as the third empire, but we want a nice match. We want everybody be enjoying themselves and so forth. You have plenty for your ticket, your cooler full, you must enjoy yourself. And something he have to look at, and I know this is something that is on the table right now, what we call smart classrooms. Smart classrooms will be rolled out within, well, by next month. We'll be doing 3 smart classrooms in Trinidad. We'll choose 3 schools and so forth. Of course, we'll talk Ministry of Education and who to demonstrate how the whole education system could evolve. Yeah? With the batsman in the wicket responsible for AI driving the initiative. But what I'm saying is that these solutions are not new things, you know. These old things, you know, for years these things are wrong. We're not bringing it to the fore, so it seems new and exciting to us, but it have been around a while. So in terms of developing smart classroom, you see, you talk about the children earlier, and this is why I went here, you know. You drove me to a location for me to come back from. You say we had to start with who? The children, in terms of developing that young mind, in terms of the end in mind for the economy and the country as a whole. So we'll be looking at, my group and my association will be looking at establishing and speaking with the Ministry of Education too. We're proposing to do 3 smart classrooms, school with smart classroom in Trinidad and Tobago, to demonstrate and to partner with the evolution in terms of thinking and preparedness in making Trinidad a first world or a fully developed country and so forth. It starts with people and people capacity. You could have all the pretty computer and all the pretty cars and cheap energy and cheap gas, but you don't have that people-centered passion, commitment, ethics, culture, training. You just have things, you know. You just have a lot of things, you know. So the governance model, the AI policy governance model that will be coming out from this batsman public administration is really encompassing the future of how this economy would look. There must be some measurable time frames for delivery and for that change management process to be implemented, or a phase implementation, rollout. I don't know what level of evaluation have been done, if the SWOT have been done, if the WAG analysis have been done. It's some my developer. The WAG analysis is something I use. Yeah, where we were, where we are, and where we going. I call it the WAG. And WAG must be movement. Development must be movement, not be stagnated and so forth. And we look at the whole PESTLE analysis, and the PESTLE from a country standpoint will deal with the external politics, how it impact on the internal politics and so forth, in terms of how we shape. We're talking cyber security and all of that had to come into the fray, because if we're going into an AI-driven economy and society, we must ensure that those protections are there. But the question we go back to, are we cultured enough? Is the behavior at the level for us to achieve those objectives for our customers, internal and external?
Well, my fellow umpire, I see you salivating there. I know you're going down this road. You seem quite excited. You seem quite excited by this imminent change, but you must also understand that what you talk about for many people will bring fear. Technology, new technology and newness brings fear in a lot of us. We're stuck in we ways. We don't want that. You want to take we walk. Do we have a caller? Let's take the caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, my friends.
Afternoon. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm hearing you all going good. Let me first compliment you for a nice program. Always nice, healthy, encouraging, instilling, you know, good quality things that is conducive to good living. And I just say, let me call and see if I can join this cricket team, but
pad up.
All right, taxi driver one time from Pinto Road, Arima, boy. PNM Pinto Road, Arima, one time.
Welcome.
So we are looking at production.
Yes.
Discipline.
Yes.
We are looking at honesty is such a lonely word, boys.
Wow.
Everyone is so untrue.
Sing better, sing better, sing.
If we are to fix this thing, I see any trade union, the this one, the churches, but you see, discipline is knowing and doing what is correct, and see that others do likewise.
Yes.
So we want a disciplined society. My friend, I believe that only if we look at giving a fair days work for a fair day's pay.
Correct.
Straightening ourselves, looking at punctuality, regularity, performance. You know, you see, if we look at these things, we will have a better country. Too many of us in the public services, especially, lapsing on the work, so to speak.
Truth.
Lapsing on the work, the private enterprises, Neil and Massey, who I work all my life with. They are highly expensive, you know, but they're still reporting X amount of millions of dollars profit for the year.
Yes.
So that I am saying that to say, let us realize that to fix crime, to fix the country, it starts with us. What am I contributing towards crime? Okay.
Good start.
I want to behave myself. I want to make sure I don't give the police trouble. I want to make sure I don't give the parents trouble.
Correct.
I want to make sure I reach to work on time. I want to make sure I'm always employed. And these things are the things that I feel will start to bring back this economy, because we grew up with a culture to believe that the government go fix me, the government go give me this. Change from PNM to UNC, we will get this, we will get that. But are we being honest?
Correct.
In our day's work? Are we being honest?
Talk, Pavilion. Talk to me.
In what we do and what we say, my friend. Now, you see the books we read, the shows we watch, the places we go, the radio stations we listen, and most importantly, friends we keep, have a lot to do with our destination.
Yes.
We are aware that love is living of values every day. And in order for us to bring about a better society, we need all hands on deck.
Yes.
Each and every one ought to contribute, including you all in the radio station.
Agreed.
When we finish here, when all are finished, or during the break time, I will hear, Nanny wine, Nanny wine. Let us be mindful of the kind of music we play. It have nice nation building songs. It have songs to empower people, encourage people, open our eyes, make us get a little wise up. And this is what we need. Last but not least, I hear we want to focus on the children, but I have a different spin on it. Let us focus on the parents.
Right.
It's time to stop picking up the young pawpaw on the ground, open and injecting it, hoping that the pawpaw tree will stop dropping pawpaw. We parents is aware, some not aware of some of the things that our children might be doing.
Excellent.
Excellent caller. We switch into the next call now. Okay?
Thanks, caller.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Very good contribution.
Good contribution.
Yeah, good afternoon. I know that you're on the public service reform and you're looking for solutions and the like.
Yes.
But in the discourse, I haven't heard you make mention of the public service or the Public Service Commission.
Right.
We get into that. Go ahead. Go ahead. I like it. Go ahead.
And I haven't heard you speak about the permanent secretary. Even though, you know, by tradition or convention, they are somewhat anonymous.
Yes.
Right? But the fact remains that those elements ought not to be left out. If we look at the Public Service Commission, what I question the qualifications of those people who are appointed to the Service Commission.
Right.
What are the responsibilities? What are the responsibility, or what are the responsibilities of the Service Commission? What are they mandated to do? I am not clear.
Are they equipped?
Right. The tenure 3 years, and after 3 years, what could they do in 3 years?
Yes.
So one has to look at that. The people who are appointed, right? And we need to look at tenure, right? We need to look at all these things, and we need also because the same very said permanent secretary remains silent in this whole thing, and he's the administrative head.
Yes.
The minister is the political head of the department.
Correct.
What is his role? What in terms of the day-to-day, the routine, the daily routine management of the department? It is the permanent secretary, and you have deputy permanent secretaries there. Are they functioning at the level to which we expect?
Well, there's be some of the busiest people, you know. You can't get them. They'll be in meeting after meeting after meeting.
Yes, but you know they could delegate.
Correct.
You know they have deputy permanent secretaries
Correct.
there.
Yes. You're
you
right.
have AO5, or you have AO3 or AO4, whatever it is, and down the road class 4 and all them kind of thing. I'm not too familiar with the classification there.
But caller, you would also agree sometimes they have to come off the horse and walk the floor.
Well, this is it.
Because when you walk the floor, things just happen, you know.
I think what I'm to a large extent, I mean, the science I always talk about, caller, ministers tend to portray to the public that they are the ones that run the ministry. And the permanent secretary use that level of ignorance by the ministers and hide in the background. The permanent secretary, as you well know, responsible for implementation.
Yes, we know that. And we know also that if, in fact, you have a weak minister, the permanent secretary could mess up everything.
Yeah.
And if you have a strong minister, well, then he could survive. But I'm saying that that permanent secretary there, they could slow down the work on you. You will spend 5 years and have nothing done. Tied up with files in this place and this document gone here and all that, and he can't function. He can't get nothing on time.
Yes.
So you need strong ministers.
Yes.
You need advisors. You need
Yes.
those people to be with the minister. So when you bring back people as advisors, you may bring back people who were in fact permanent secretaries before. I think Jack Warner did that, and in the last PP government they did that.
Yes.
So they don't fall victim or whatever it is to those permanent secretaries who have their own agenda.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you.
And some of them are politically aligned.
Yeah. I've worked with some. You are correct. You're bold.
So you can't be naive, you know.
Yeah.
Why is you functioning there? They call in the minister for whom they work and discuss, tell them everything what going on inside here.
Correct.
You don't understand what's going on here, this and that. And
they lead the resistance.
This is Trinidad, and people don't be blindsided by that.
All right.
So I'm saying you need to look at the Service Commission, the people you appoint. I said I don't want to be repetitive, but the fact remains you need to look at all that. The tenure.
Excellent contribution, caller. Excellent contribution.
You can't just appoint people there for 3 years and expect that, because it was made quite clear by the last government that they were going to dismantle the service commissions. Reginald Dumas, before he died, right, behaved a huff and a puff. He said, well, what are you going to replace it for? Because those are the things that were agreed on, the Independent Service Commission and Independent Election and Wrongdoing Commission at Marlborough House. Capitol insisted on those things. And the fact remains is that you had, because of the poor nature of the society, you wanted merit. You wanted a balance. You wanted people who an institution that would reflect independence in terms of recruitment.
But the mistake we make that made that whole Marlborough House arrangement sort of watered down was when we became a republic, and you have the Prime Minister now appointing the President, who appoints the Service Commission, then the whole thing fall apart. Where before, the Queen, yes, would have her or the King's representative appointing the service commissions, and it bring about more neutral decision making. But since Republican, we started to politicize this whole arrangement, becomes so politicized with friends and who know who, that in terms of the effectiveness of what was discussed with Capel Day and Eric William become null and void. And this is why we had to look at how do we modernize our governance model to meet the challenges that we're facing today in terms of one, becoming a developed country, yeah, and in being more effective and more efficient in how we run our day-to-day affairs. To a large extent, we need to review, because a lot fell down, right? Where the role, and this is why we start off this afternoon by saying the bowlers and the understanding the construct while they were batting had the same gatekeepers that are called permanent secretaries and so forth, having places rented and paying rent. Remember, the minister don't pay no rent, you know. Yeah. He don't sign no check to pay no rent. He don't sign no contract to rent no building, you know.
Right.
The permanent secretary and them were signing check and having checks so prepared for buildings for rental that we have no contract for, when they are supposed to be the gatekeeper to ensure that which is right prevails to a large extent, you know.
But if
so the whole thing broke down really and truly. So
they circumvented the cabinet.
Well, this is it. Could we call that now a mischief in public office?
But this is it. And I'm saying that we have to guard against these things.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that you need, when we talk about reform, we have to look at all these institutions.
Yes.
All these personnel, all these players. Well, I don't know, it's a Herculean task. I don't know, but, you know, I hope everything can work out.
We appreciate your call and your intervention.
Yes.
Excellent from the pavilion, man. Excellent. Good. So you see what he said there?
Yes.
It's real and what we call clear and present danger when the gatekeepers suddenly open the gate, train ladder and rope over the wall.
Next call.
Yeah. Afternoon caller. Switch off your radio when you get on, or your device when you get on, so we prevent that feedback from coming into the studio. Easy.
Caller, are you there? We miss you, caller. Could you restart? Just turn down your radio and just listen to us on the phone and talk with us. We missed you.
Hearing the radio here now?
Yes, we hear you good.
All right, okay. All right, well, it's President Trinidad and Tobago Village.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Afternoon, Villager.
Matthews, Matterson, and
Selvon Mitchell, yeah.
Mitchell and Rolando.
Rolox.
Rolox, right. All right, yeah, and good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I don't want to get too much of thing. What I will say is, I like the program this evening because really, I asked about this the other day and about state, the difference between state and parliament. Or you remember that?
Yes, you did, yeah.
Well, I get a real amount of information this afternoon, in real sense. Because even the last portion where Dr. West now, in great help in the conversation, able to bring out the position of the PS, the permanent secretary, and that permanent secretary role in the ministry.
Yes.
Whereas, in truth, they have a very, as I was saying on time, they don't really move from this. But the minister himself, he's supposed to, well, he really truly supposed to be accountable to the time he gets his work to do over the ministry. My next question today now is going to be, the CEO, I believe, was going to be right underneath the permanent secretary. Should it be?
Now, CEO in State Corporation come under Corporation Sole, which really falls under the Minister of Finance to a large extent. They have a fiduciary responsibility to the line minister and the ministry, but the due responsibility in terms of direct line response and reporting is to the Minister of Finance Corporation Sole in state agencies such as WASA, TNTEC, and those agencies and so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Regional corporation and all that.
Well, regional corporations are a little different from state like TNTEC, the NGCs, and so forth. They have a different model.
All right, so I'll go pick up on that a little more. So
I'll expand on it as we go forward. No problem.
Yes. So basically, what I'm dealing here as the ministry is dealing with the minister and the permanent secretary.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if I, as the pavilion, wanting information about the ministry, which is the place definitely that I will have to go to know anything that I need to know in the ministry?
Well, it's based on what you want to know, but you really start with the permanent secretary, who is the guardian and the gatekeeper of the ministry.
That's the chief public
officer.
Well, that is the person that we organization going to be connected to. No, you make me able to put the things in the books. Anyway, this evening was talking about some nice amount of things that you could deal with the public servants. I'm moving on fast. That I write down out of all other information of what I gain in the knowledge here, which was to begin from yesterday. I say most of what governments and everybody doing public service and everybody has to lead by example. Remember that.
Yes.
So since we go there now and we are dealing with public administration this afternoon, there is public service in most of the cases. And we're dealing with behavior because you call a wide range of consciousness there. Behavior, culture, quality of service, and within the whole process of the administration of service, you have the union, where we still have to talk a bit about that union thing because me ain't too comfortable still. I know we with labor how did this link up, so that's a piece of problem still. We go talk that later down in time.
All right.
The cabinet, as you know, give me the cabinet, there's like a little notes and thing and whatever they need to happen in the ministry.
Yes.
Delivery and ethics. That have to come like together. Delivery, good responsibility, and then we're working together with ethics. But the one I'm really looking at is discipline and penalty. You see, what happening in the whole society is penalties not being faced when people in discipline in all different form, whether you thief, you kill, you whatever.
So it's a kind of free for all.
That's a great serious problem in the public service, especially when plenty of us will be talking that the service is not good in those ministries, in those organizations.
So what basically you're saying, Prezi, is that people are not held accountable for performance.
Yes, that is the fact.
So anything goes.
And I think what I want to say too, in some respect, because a little while earlier on, it was just saying that many of these kind of statutes really coming from they're stemming from a long time, a sort of long time situation where
we call dated.
When the government was there, it was different. But now you have a certain difficult kind of people that's a
let's put it this way. You believe if we had this system that was constructed during the genesis of the Queen and Capilday one day, you feel the Prime Minister could have gone to Ho Choi and grabbed the list of who will be recommended for commissioner and change the list if Ho Choi was there appointed by the Queen? You really feel that could have happened?
That is why somebody was telling you yesterday that the bureaucracy of the yesterday, it was more turned to like a conglomerate section, but eventually using that situation in the politics, but somewhere along the line, if you look at it well, like it really needs to fly back, because the truth is that people too lackadaisical with the responsibility and the accountability that they're supposed to put on the society, on the pavilion.
Yeah. All right.
Communication, as you were saying just now, is a serious thing with the digital curry, the AI.
Yes.
Yeah, that's strong. That's going to be very strong in public admin.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Provi, I appreciate your call. So what we're talking about, is our overall what we call legislative and regulatory leadership framework we had to construct now in terms of how we can achieve. We had to benchmark it against developed country status. Let me say that is the end in mind. Yeah. So the mission is, how do we get there, really and truly, with those batsmen in the wicket, in terms of, one, trade, in terms of turning around the economy, bringing liquidity in the system and so forth by creating an enabling environment, ease of doing business and so, yeah? But all of that can't happen if public admin and the people, yeah, to so engage the capital, engage commerce, yeah, in support, yeah. Afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and good afternoon to you.
Afternoon.
You know, that shame that you all who have this program and a number of persons from the pavilion is not in the government, because I have heard basically all the solutions already. But the thing is, wherever direction we choose to go as a country, the solution will require three categories of persons, right? The people who bat in and bowl in, to have a proper philosophy on the way forward.
Correct.
Right? To identify the internal shortcomings, the external shortcomings. So the people who work in and providing the service and the people who go in for the service, we have to identify all the shortcomings and have a philosophy and a will to deal with it and put things in place to turn it from what it currently is. And that, when we have that, then you could have the buy-in of persons understanding why it is best for everyone if I do my part. You understand? To not have people piling up, coming, waiting for a service, spending whole day, still having to come back sometimes. We have to identify where all these shortcomings are and purpose in ourselves to really want to deal with it.
Yes.
And as I say, it's really a shame that we are not the people who are in government, because you hear all the solutions here, really and truly. So what really missing is the will of the people who have to put in place the policies and the philosophies and do what is required for the entire nation to buy into it.
Yes. Caller, don't go. I want you to answer this for me. Tell me what you think. What you think is the best vehicle to deliver this message as a country? Is it the parents to the children? Is it the church to the congregation? Is it the school to the students? What vehicle you think? Where you think this starts? What's the genesis of getting this message across? We can't start on TV. We can't start with the politician. I believe it could end there. But what do you think? What is your opinion?
That is a wonderful question, right? So let me put it in a nutshell. Because of the type of journey that this is, it needs all the available vehicles.
Thank you.
So at some point in time, the parents will have to be driving. At some point in time, the teachers will need to be driving.
Yes.
At some point in time, the police service will have to be driving, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
You see, it's not a journey where you could just walk alone or run alone. You might have to swim sometimes. Right. You might have to fly over something sometimes. So, as I say, it needs all the available vehicles because of the type of journey. And it is because that we already know what type of journey it is.
Yes.
That we could really come together and have a formidable approach to have the best outcome for every single citizen of this nation.
Yes.
Right? As I say, so based on the fact that all these solutions exist, a lot of times right in the pavilion, it is just the will of the people who have the power to put in place the policies and the programs and do what is necessary to cause persons to buy in to the policies and the program, right? So that people can feel as good as the people who, under the umbrella of the 120th SRC review, Salary Reviews Commission, everybody wants to feel that same comfort.
Yes.
You understand? It cannot be that you want to ask about a means test for a matter, and then you're not asking for a means test in a next matter. Correct. We have to be, we have to be consistent, and that is really the key in all of this. So,
all right. Thanks, Paula. Thanks. Good points. Good solid points.
Excellent. The pavilion is attentive, man. Pavilion is on the ball. They understand what is happening.
And I like how the caller understood that it really will take everyone. And it wouldn't just be one particular group, because that's the other thing that we have to figure out. Yes, we have the president on the line again?
Yeah, I hear you know.
Yeah, President, yeah.
You
Talk
see
to
that
us.
question, I managed to come up before you ask it. Because when I come up, and then after here you ask it. But the truth is, I didn't get the answer a long time ago.
Right.
And I give all it. I think it's up to yesterday. I give all it. I want to see, aside from the 3 earlier, put 9 more. And you see that number that I keep calling 12, 12, 12? And I keep calling that the educated people is like they way out of doing anything because they're educated, and some of them rich, what they call them middle class, they don't have time with how the structure down below because them benefited. We the people have to form an organization to deal with the matter from the parliament. That is why I asked you about the ministries and them just now, you know. Because I personally want to know how to deal with the ministries. I got it from you just now, Frank comment from the state, which I have to deal with the permanent secretary and the minister, nobody else. So if it so be, then I want to 12 in parliament so that I could deal directly to them, and by doing that, we get to oppose them representatives, which not supposed to be ministers, they're supposed to be representing me in my constituencies and dealing with the thing in the parliament as legislation.
Agreed. Good, good. Let me expand on that.
So that question you asked, you know, bring it into role and started to make up the puzzle of what
Let me expand on that for you, Prezi. I'm glad you opened up Pandora's box there, and you're so correct. You're so correct in terms of the level of preparedness, in terms of the people themselves understanding in the pavilion how the batting's supposed to be taking place. To a large extent, I'll give you one example. We would have roads, for example, bad roads, and we will say, oh, bad health system, it had no bed in the hospital, as the case would be. I saw in the news last night, rodents in Princestown Hospital, I think it was Princestown Hospital, and the workers, and they videotaped some rodents running about the hospital and so forth. And what I hear the minister, sad, responding on how he will have to get when to kill, and I trying to figure out how the minister reached there because it had rodent in the hospital. Really and truly, minister, you have given over $4 billion to the Ministry of Health.
Exactly.
What are you doing talking about rat, minister? Your role is to set a vision and a path for delivery of service. Let me tell you something. I want to go so. Princeton Hospital have a management up there. The ministry, the Southwest Regional Health Authority, have a board of directors and an executive. The ministry have a director of hospital. They have a chief. The ladder of people that are responsible for the delivery of service and the care of our health institution are so far removed from the minister. I wonder why the minister was commenting on rat in a hospital. And it shows me again how the batters and the wicked could be earned when they're going, you know, and turning the batter around and batting on the wrong side of the bat, on the edge of the bat, you know, and not letting the ball face squarely on the ball face squarely on the bat, you know. You understand what I'm saying, Prezi? Talk to me.
Now here we're going on. Now
Talk
you catch that. Since you will have 12 in the parliament, which I'm talking this now because I managed to get all your educated people in the voice and in voice, right? So that in doing this piece of invention, this piece of creation, you are the rightest set of people to start this process of having 12 people outside of the parliament right now, since you have 3 already, which is the 3 earlier. And if you got the next 9 and all your whole...
I understand what you're saying, Prezi. I understand you.
I have the documents. I don't know if you see it yet, but I could send it on. I could send it out, and you go find it once you have the name on number where you have in front of you.
Soon come, we'll put our numbers out there for we to have engaging the callers for suggestion and ideas, man.
All right, well, walk in front of them. You want to tackle me and see how you can get me to come close, because I don't want everything go up on the radio.
Agreed. We'll engage.
You have to tackle me for this, because this has to start on the outside to prepare for election, and the next election come. So when we have it and the pavilion, they are accustomed to understanding the reality. Days where we will get with 12, put it inside of there, nobody carry nothing afterwards.
Yeah. The major objective is to create what I call a knowledge-based society in terms of the government model and the government construct, to understand when you get in I don't want to use different words on the air and so forth. When you get in a service that is wanting, let me put it that way in Catholic terms, wanting and so forth. So when I saw that last night, I said again, that level of tutelage for the batsman, that coaching and training that I talk about, that batsmen should have or receive when they go into bat. I said the health batsman batting. I say, what? It's not his time to bat yet. Where you going on the field with pads on for? There are certain things that are happening before he start a bat.
He's supposed to be pleasing the pavilion.
Yes, warm it up.
Okay.
But he went out and bat. When they had, it's that 2-1 batting out, I saw he pad up. Because 2 rats in a hospital and held batsman pad up. He had a pad up. Here what? Quietly. You see that whole board for Southwest? Had to be assigned to the director of hospital. You see, we like to run past everybody, you know.
Right.
Who reports to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health? Me, as minister, I want a report from the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health as to what I can report to the people, which is the parliament. The issues and the solution therein to address that rodent issue.
Mr. Chris will come and talk exactly where he wants to talk there, because he is one, don't want to hear about no parliamentary member, is no minister. He will come up and do all the rest like myself. I'm waiting on him. He coming. I know he's coming.
All right. Thanks, Prezi. Thanks, Prezi. So see how the batting had to be? Really and truly? There's a rule, and ministers and batsmen a lot of times circumvent their role, you know, and try to play everybody else's role, you know.
All, you know, but we like to party, yeah? I just want you to know that, right? This is party central. God is at Trini. We don't have to work. We work day. Right? All this discipline and thing, all they talking
doing
about.
the thing the right way and all kind of thing. Process mapping.
Let's take this call. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon. Caller, welcome.
Okay, man, same to you. All right, we're discussing public administration.
Yes.
First,
easy batsman.
We must give a definition what public administration is, and it simply is defined as government in action. And the term was coined by. Hello?
Yeah, wait, you're going nice. You're going nice.
You're taking notes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the term was coined by Thomas Woodson. Yeah, and he was the 13th president of America, and he was a Democrat. Yeah, conduct what first thing we have to do is try to have PSs on contract. Right? You have to develop a system like that. And so was done, that was done in 1985 under the IMF. Right? We also have to focus on training in budgeting, accounting, and human resource management in the public service. Right? We also have to look at offering public servants what we call psychic income. That you give them a form of recognition and appreciation, and that you have various ways to do by just a sport, a return, a bonus, whatever the administration choose. Right? Now, I don't know what Mr. Draper did in public service reform. Well, he started the process by never ended. And somehow, we have to look at that again. Our entire evaluation, all the jobs in the and these are some of the things we could put. Now, I just want to say something now about the team, the Indian team we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now that Indian team was the team that gave rise to Indian Formula cricket. Right? In that you had two million two spinners, right? And that team will beat us and have India world ranks in today. Right? The two postmen was a player Abdulai and I think Ashok Mankan, and then we have the three spinners, Preston and defensive duty. But the captain was the man on leadership. Right? He was the man ready. Led the team properly. So that I think will be what is it. And that led the team to win up to now. Right? So this government could use our parliament and see how they could manage and build so that Trinidad and Tobago could be well recognized in the future.
Excellent caller. I summarize what you say. I summarize what the caller says. Country first, eh? Country first. Thanks, caller. Excellent. Pavilion is alive and well, man. Alive and like this pavilion. Nobody brought any beverage with alcohol content because they're very clear. They're very concise in their discourse. I'm not hearing any. There's no level of confabulation in what they're saying.
Are you suggesting that alcohol impedes your clarity?
Well, unless you're using it for sterilization.
It depends on what you're drinking. You ever hear about the truth?
Yes.
There's something called the truth, eh?
Okay.
You'll be crystal clear. You'll prophesy.
Call now and get interactive with us. Call now and be part of the show. Don't miss out. Dial 466-5391 or 342-0081 and join the conversation today. The Street 919 FM, where your opinion matters.
Yeah, I like what you just said. That caller summarized it beautifully. Country first.
Yeah. Country first, yeah.
Where is learn that?
Country first is an inherent thing that starts from the home, really and truly. Yeah? Let me tell you where country first start from. Country first start from when you wake up in the morning. Before you leave your bedroom, you make up your bed, you know. It's internal self-discipline, you know. To want that which is good, that which is order, and so forth. Yeah? And if you check some of the most successful militaries in the world and so forth, they are successful because of discipline, you know, and order, you know. Yes? And no one complain, you know, because everybody understand the end in mind. And we bought into the end in mind, and to achieve the end in mind, we have to start right. Yeah? So the man in the army know he had to start by making sure the ends of it. That's not for penance, you know. It's to create a culture of behavior. Yeah? Of discipline, of order. So everything that falls now falls into place, yeah, and is done right the first time around and so forth. But you know, sometimes we are like, well, no problem, let him do that now. Go, you know,
you sure that will work here?
Listen,
we want to go on the beach on Wednesday, you know. Wednesday we want to go on the beach.
No, but let me tell you something. You can walk on the beach on Wednesday, you know. We talk about it yesterday and the day before, you know.
Well, you coming for your check. You coming for the paper. We are coming for. We want to go on the beaches Wednesday. We stress out.
No, let me tell you something.
We don't stress out on Wednesday.
I've heard that. I've heard that, and I've worked with public servants before, people in the public service, and they are, I could say that. I had a good run with them, committed, dedicated, guide me, support me, because they understood also the right thing also.
Yes.
Let's deliver service. Let's make sure at the end of the day they can measure what we have done against what was spent and so forth. They bought into the process, but everyone, I like the process mapping. I have a bad habit of process mapping and letting everybody understand the outcome I'm looking for. Yes? So when we huddle together, I do that an instruction, do that. But there must be a buy-in of why am I doing that? What are the benefits? What are the outcome? How would the masses share in the benefits of what is realized at the end of the day? And the conversations will come down to leadership. Our friend earlier talked about the permanent secretaries. And if the public service is waning relative to a high standard of delivery of service, we have to look at the leadership. We have to look at the leadership of the public service. So the batsman in the wicket have to look at his management team, his CEOs of the ministries, to start to drill down the message. So I'm giving him a point to start. I'm telling him where to put his foot and position his bat. By the crease, I'm helping him how to position himself by the crease.
Dare say you look like you look at the takeaway with fed tickets for all inclusive and with Christmas money for decorations for Christmas, and we just decorate the office and we decorating it from Thursday, so don't come for no paper sign.
You sounding like you on Flip Deco board.
From Thursday we decorated the office.
Tickets?
So Christmas is
NGC? Which board you're NGC or Flip Deco? You talking pet tickets?
We're going to decorate the office. Don't come here till after Christmas with that paper you want signed.
Listen, we can create an environment that says this. Look, staggered work week and so forth. We could himself go towards reduce hours of work and so forth for certain people. But it must be measured against practical HR philosophy or HR philosophy in terms of what is the outcome we want. I'm sure a lot of people in the public service are not happy with delivery of service that they receive when they go to another ministry. I'm sure.
That's true.
I'm sure. And the question is, okay, if you do it to others, don't you feel it will be done unto you? You understand what I'm saying? The question is, how do we handle the leadership? All the permanent secretaries in a retreat, all the ministers in a retreat, because leadership is a drill down thing. Quality control is a drill down behavior. Quality control, it starts from the top. Service, quality service. When you use the word Q, quality starts from the top. From the captain of the team to all the players on the team, it is drilled down, straight down. To the man who had to cut the grass and draw the line on the field, quality must be, and that messaging must but it have to start from the top. And if the leadership of the ministries in terms of the permanent secretaries is not given that proper tutelage in terms of leadership, not because a man have a degree is a leader. We get up, well, he have an MBA, boy, he have a PhD, so he could be the boss. So sometimes a cleaner could lead the whole troops to protest, and the man the PhD, nobody had time with him, you know. A leader is when you look behind, you know. Who could influence change, you know. Go ahead.
I just want to know if this AI thing you're talking about could help us stop lose people file and flash drive. That is all I want to know. Because we have a problem with files and flash drives in this country. They just go home. Rat just eat it. After you write up all over that full scap page, the next time you go on back to that, so I don't know how to tell you this.
I'll give an example of that. We come back from the break and so forth. To our listening audience outside there, to our people in the pavilion, engage, participate. 342-0081 466-5391 771-1791.
I like this place you're talking about. I optimistic too, you know. But I know we like both party and both ride. That's what they say. I don't know. I know. I like my hair. party and boat rides. And we've decorated the office for Christmas, so please don't come 2 days before.
No, Friday's dress down.
Yeah, we dress down.
No, we dress down, you walk down too.
We had to dress down too. That's the kind of, they say we colorful. God is not training. Don't get no horrors. Why are you working so hard? Why are you working so hard? You end up in the hospital. Take your time. It's 12 o'clock, you know.
We're doing
the office clean. Nobody down here.
Yeah, we're doing cash in.
Them gone already?
Yeah.
Them gone already.
Cash are closed.
So after the drinks break, we want to hear from the 12th man as we've been hearing.
Yeah.
And how we can transform and turn this thing around.
In his benefit and her benefit.
You've got bills to pay. And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Don't miss June savings at Furniture Plus. Get up to 50% off shop appliances, furniture, electronics, mattresses, and more. Buy now, pay later with affordable higher purchase plans. Plus, earn Caribbean Airlines. Travel miles with your purchase. Visit any Furniture Plus stores or shop online.
Are you tired of scratching the surface? Do you want to understand the real forces shaping Trinidad and Tobago? From the delicate dance of our energy sector on the global stage, to the geopolitical shadows behind the crime affecting our streets, we dig deeper. The third umpire goes beyond the headlines. We connect the dots between local challenges and the international currents that truly impact your life, your wallet, your security. Join Stephen Matheson, Selvin Mitchell, and Ronaldo Rollux, 3 employment law and human resource management consulting professionals, as they unpack the complexities, analyze the power plays, and reveal the often hidden realities. Understand the game. Understand your role in it. The third umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on the Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news. Understand it.
Planning your Tobago getaway? Choose the highest Google-rated car rental company on the island, O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago. Located just minutes from the A&R Robinson International Airport, at O'Neill, we pride ourselves on being the most tech-savvy car rental company in Tobago. Our process is 100% digital. No paperwork, no long lines. From easy pickup to seamless returns, renting a car in Tobago has never been simpler. WhatsApp us now at 1-868-361-1042 to book your vehicle. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO2 to receive a 5% discount on your rental. Send a WhatsApp message to 1-868-361-1042 today. That's 1-868-361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago, the easiest, most reliable car rental experience on the island.
Vehicle availability is subject to change. Driver must be at least 25 years old and have a valid driver's license to book. For more information, visit www.rentalcartobago.com.
The Gap Man Limited specializes in products that cater to all your health needs. The Male Enhancement Package targets the areas of the body that contribute to erectile dysfunction. The Male Enhancement costs $1,400. The Gap pills are priced at 250 pills for $500 and 500 pills for just $900. For the best in eye care, get the super combination of a Super Bright and the Body Healer. To improve the heart's function and circulation, get the Gap pills and Formula C. To get a total body cleanse daily, use the Gap Body Healer and Big C, all for a super low price of $1,300. To order your products from the Gap Man Limited, call 628-4531 for products that cater to all your health needs.
For more info, contact 476-7268.
Welcome to Pizza Hut.
Hi, can I get a medium pepper?
Here you go.
Oh, wow. How did you...
It's Pizza Hut's Hot to Go. So you get taste, quality, and speed all in one go.
And I can get...
1 medium hot to go for $89 or 2 medium hot to go for $169 in pepperoni, Hawaiian, and veg, Monday to Friday.
Can you
get your girlfriend to forgive you as fast as our hot to go pizza? No, sir.
Come in and try our hot to go specials today at locations nationwide. Pizza Hut. Now that's delivering.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
As we move forward, welcome back to Pavilion. I know some of the guys on the batting team, they in the Pavilion also listening the commentary from the Third Empire. We know some of people, one or two of the bowling team is still there in case a bowler have a hamstring. You have people from the bowling side in the Pavilion also. The captain of the bowling side, and they are out there. They're listening to the Third Empire.
Listen, don't underestimate that red team, eh?
Yeah, that bowling team is they're interested, you know. They're interested, you know. While they're feeling, they have a second team hidden inside that locker room, practicing, spinning their hand, running and diving and rolling.
Very resourceful.
Resourceful is the understatement. They will have people in the Pavilion catch ball for them, you know, because they play to win, you know.
Correct.
At all means necessary.
Correct.
Right? I see that they're doing I call it a fishing expedition to see the level of competence and capacity. Yeah?
Yeah.
In the batting side right now, you know.
Yes.
That team on the offensive right now, that red team on the offensive is doing some strategic, right? Earthworm behavior, infiltrating, and they'll push. And they're testing knobs, they're pushing different knobs, they pelt a ball, all right, how we perform there, how we stand up, who is the weak link, and then they'll start a batter at the weak link. They'll find the weak one and start to trade them offline. Let me tell you something. In politics and governance, if the batting team don't understand it, you know what you do? When you're on the opposing side, they call it the formula of distraction from your core function. So here what I'll do to you. Here what the bowling team will be doing. Here what? Every week, I have objection, I have questions, I have interruption, just to keep you off your game. And if you're good enough as a batsman in the wicket, you'll be so focused and fighting and trying to push back from that your core function in terms of putting runs on the board is deterred, you know. Because them fellas just distracting. And they come with all kind of foolishness, all kind of motion for this and a motion for that and a motion for that, and they run up. And when they're running up, they tell the umpire, well, I like how the man stand up so, you know. And the umpire say, hey, the man don't like how he stand up, shift so, and distraction, and train you, the batsman, off your focus, you know, when you're batting, you have to focus. And what is the best way to out you? It's to shift your focus.
Well, I've been watching the parliament, some of the debates, and find the bowling side appealing for every ball. Everything that come off.
Frustrate the batsman.
Yeah,
appeal.
They ain't nicks. We don't know nick. We are the third umpires. We'll review the tape and we
seen that
song, but we didn't see any. But they appealing for everything. It's not easy. It's not easy in this wicket. They come out to play. Runs on the board. Yes, we have a new team batting. We have a new side batting, you know. Runs on the board, and they look like they are determined to defend the score. And I can't take that away from them.
No.
Obviously, we having little issues in the dressing room. You know, who might be injured, hurt.
Yes.
Feelings were hurt.
Who feel I should have be bowling now. And they let me bowl.
A man say he talked to the former captain, and he tried to talk to the former captain, and he wouldn't listen. And he find that the team should not be feeling right now. We should have had more runs.
Yep.
You know, we should have get 5 more years. Depending on if the captain did listen. But the captain didn't listen. And so they having the little, you know, team talk. You know, the mic on. We always ask them to take off the mic in the dressing room. You know, but we hear
chatter.
We're not taking it to heart because we understand that there is a discussion among
themselves. No, but the thing about it, some of them coming out the dressing room quarreling, and
we hear them. Sometimes just come out, you're vexed. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I hear one of them fellas on the offensive side, on the bowling side, talk about they're accusing me of when I supposed to be training and doing my thing. I lie on a bed in my office, all kind of thing, when I should be outside there putting some scores on the board while we were in the wicket. They're accusing the man of staying in the locker room and sleeping on a bed.
Yeah.
And here to come out and be defending himself against all of that chatter is distracting to some extent the bowlers and them, you know.
That's true. The bowlers have to mind their business. The
batsmen,
have to mind their business.
Have to mind their business.
And forget that team talk.
Don't get involved in that.
That chatter is among the team, the bowling side.
Yeah.
And they could call it one another.
Yeah, let them
call that.
Yep.
They could have the peacock and the little tete-a-tete.
Yeah.
Good, all of that in sports. But you in the wicket.
Yeah. Focus.
You have to focus.
Focus.
You have to focus public admin and trade.
Trade still there.
You all have to focus because is heavy bowling coming.
Now, public admin had to have a conversation because Labour was in the wicket, eh?
Yes.
And he had to have a conversation with Labour to find out how the field and the pitch rolling, eh? He can just go inside there and start to behave. He got Zantiwa himself and so forth. And I talked to Labour. I was inside there, brother. How the communication going inside there? How them boys prepared and so forth? What support I could get from you in terms of advice?
Yeah.
What sort of strategy?
Yeah.
You could lay on the table to pull this whole thing together for my innings to look good.
Yeah. He will want to find out if the ball's swinging.
Yeah. How it's swinging too?
Yeah. Does it drop and pitch straight?
Yeah.
Labour
was there, and Labour made some commitments.
Yes.
Labour and some of his colleagues and team players,
yes,
and members of his fraternity made some commitment to the rest of the batsmen. Yes, and here what they say, you know, there's a song that was sung in trade unionism many years ago in England. It goes, "Hold the fort, for we are coming, Union."
Yes.
Make us strong.
Yeah.
Union is a coming together of the minds, coming together of philosophies, yeah, coming together of common objectives. Yeah. And we hope now that Labour, with his team members and his associate, the ingredients that they have could lend to public admin batsman to be effective.
Some support.
Some support.
Yes.
Strategies for delivery.
They need that support.
He need that support.
They need to support each other.
Yeah.
Because Labour is coming or has come to the pitch.
Yeah.
With great expectation. Great expectation.
Yes.
Labour and put on the pads just so.
No.
And dress up. It's not a beauty pageant.
No.
He has serious questions to answer.
Yep.
There's some workers watching, listening.
With great expectation.
Great expectation. they expect a certain amount of runs.
Yeah.
At least 10. At least.
Yeah.
Good, they will do that. They have accepted 10.
Yeah.
So we go take 10.
Yeah.
But 10 runs when the ball's swinging and darting is a lot of runs, you know. That's a lot of runs. That is a lot of runs. But Labour promised at least 10.
Yeah.
And his supporters are expecting him to deliver. Good. So there must be a constant conversation.
The question will be with the batsman called public admin. Would he have expectation when those 10 are delivered?
Yes.
Labour delivered the 10. The 10 is on the table and the 10. He have expectation now in terms of how we consolidate performance for that 10 that Labour has put on the table.
Yeah, that 10 coming at a cost.
At a cost.
That is not a free 10. That is not a free 10.
It's not a free 10.
The captain said that.
Return on investment.
The captain said that in her speech, as quoted by the Daily Express during Labour Day.
Yeah.
She said, 2 hands has clapped.
Yeah.
2 hands has clapped. I can't be out here batting in the weather.
Yeah.
And y'all okay. If I catch the cold.
Yeah.
What happened? I need the 12th man.
And when the trophy come, you see somebody else raising the trophy. And not me who get wet in the rain. Really and truly.
She expects support from the 12th man.
Yeah. Public administration have a tall order. You have a very tall order. I'm looking at what sort of a legislative agenda will be coming out of public admin. That batsman, they have to come with some serious in terms of a reformative legislative agenda. Because we are moving to a digital age and a digital time, and we can't be left behind. If we do embrace it now, we'll be dinosaurs, really and truly.
We have no choice.
We have no choice. We have no choice, and the society as a whole have to prepare for that change that is on our doorstep, at the case may be. The effectiveness of that will be realized in our ministries and so forth, yeah, in the public service and the execution of the service to their customers, yeah. How we utilize these tools, and we always make a mistake. I always tell companies that companies set policies. I know the mistake they make with certain policies. They don't do what I call beta testing of the policy. In terms of, when you set the policy, let granny pull 20 people who passing on the road. You know, you do the tasting, some litmus test, and say, come and try and fill out this form online for me. And just to look at the issues and the problems that they experience. Don't use intelligent, the average fella who went to school, who familiar with computer, who familiar with technology, because when it is applied for all and sundry. The lady who is in Westmoreland, who is in Toko, who is in Mayaru, who is in Shogwanas, the young one, the aged male, the aged female, all and sundry, yeah, will be in the presence and facing technology on their day-to-day traverse to society in filling out a form in terms of paying. I know they have the online payment system. Online payment system is technology that's prevailing in the society as a whole. Now you can pass your phone and pay a bill now and tap your card, and it's there. Yeah? But that is just scratching the surface of using technology to drive effective, efficient society. Yeah, we have to reach there, and the public admin AI batsman need to craft policies, really and truly, to create that enabling environment for all to rise in a technological world, as the case may be. I don't know how he's crafting it. I don't know the team that he has around him and so forth. I don't know his advisors and so forth. I don't know if he intends to solicit the social society, the public society outside there, how we intend to, civil society as we call it, how we intend to brace clusters in terms of feedback, how we intend to use the learning institutions, for example, the universities, the tertiary level education, the Cipriani Labour College, the high school and so forth, and get feedback, yeah, and craft policies relative to the feedback to know what are the gaps that exist. Yeah, and then develop policies, but I haven't seen that started as yet. And I hope they don't sit down in a room by themselves and decide that is what we should give them.
Yes.
And not determine if that is what they are able to handle at this point in time.
Correct.
That is what is relevant, or that will solve the problem that exists in society, or the problem that they alone perceive is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah? And now do the feedback, because I always talk about something fundamental with leadership. Representation without consultation is always my problem. Well, we feel like the right thing to do. In whose mind? Because you have some leaders outside there are really legends in their own mind, you know. We have seen some pastoral leaders in this country, you know. Legends in their own mind, you know, and really feel they're doing much, you know. But the much they're doing is so detrimental to the many that they don't realize it. And that comes about without the feedback. I see we had consultation in Trinidad, and to me it wasn't consultation, you know. It was a talk down, you know. Like they come to tell you this is what I'm doing, really and truly. It's a formality to say we had a consultation, but consultation, really and truly, is pulling certain think tanks in certain communities. We have what, 41 constituencies. I would like to have 41 constituencies, pull together a little think tank and put together a paper, not a discussion on a microphone, and a man take 2 little notes on a platform where people say and say that's consultation. Yeah, we're insulting the word consultation in the real sense of it. We have 41 constituencies. MPs now supposed to huddle with their constituencies, yeah, and really talk to them about policy making that will impact on the burgesses. You see how we fixing it nice now? You see how the batsman had to start fixing it nice? So you as the MP for Princestown, you huddle, you have a what we call a constituency meeting. Yeah, we have a constituency meeting and we talk about it amongst your burgesses and so forth.
Let's take this call.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. Hey.
Is that funny thing how you all of a sudden communicate it? Sometimes you reach to the point of recognizing that the representative not supposed to be ministers. You connect it. In fact, you and 11 of your umpire or referee technique should be in the parliament. And you will have a 12 outside in an organization that was formed before you go in there. So you're not in there by yourself. You're in there with the 12 that outside with you. A whole organization. Liberal, independent, brotherhood. Now that organization will handle the representative or the rest of the representative and the ministry and the CPS, the public permanent secretary. That is what you go to do. You find it, you know, because your program says, don't believe I was too much dependent on your batsman. Neither no feelings now. Because I know that they're wrong. And as long as they're wrong, the system will never work good.
We have a next call.
We have somebody calling. Let me hear them.
Good afternoon again, gentlemen. You know, it's very interesting that you highlighted the current behavior of the red side. But I just want to make a point on that. Two things. Why that really will not work for them at this time. That kind of wormy behavior that they describe. You see, when it has always been a fact that the UNC had a greater political will than the PNM, able to do whatever they choose to do, whether they feel is right or wrong, but they have no problem going forward and doing it, right? So that sort of excessive rhetoric really wouldn't help them, because I believe this UNC coalition will do whatever they choose to do, and I just hope that what they choose to do will be the best thing for everyone in the country. The second part of it is, every time this red side go back to between 2010 and 2015, you know what they're saying to me really and truly? Is that we were there for the 9+ years and did nothing about it. And coming back again after we use up all the credits we had as it relates to speaking about 2010 and 2020 and 2015. There is no more talking on what happened between them from those people in the red side. That could pass for a new political party who didn't have the power to do something about all that you're claiming. So all you're saying to me when you go back to 2010 and 2015 is that we were there and we did nothing. So now, once again, we back to the place where after the next 5 years, Ole could come back to make allegations once more and hope that is enough to, that will assist you in voting out. But we in the pavilion ready to vote in aside. We are fed up of having to vote out aside. And as I say, on this occasion, that tactic will not work for the red team. And the sooner they understand that, the better it will be for them. But right now it will not work because you all were there for 9 years and there is nothing that you could say about 2010 to 2015 and the nation hasn't heard already. And they still either choose not to come out and give you their vote or to go out and vote in a hope that everybody will win when this UNC wins. So, that is my
contribution. Thanks, caller.
Yeah.
Thanks, caller.
Yeah, well, the caller is a 12th man. We have another call. Let's take this other call.
Yeah, sorry to call you. You see, the thing about it,
Caller, turn down your radio. Let's hear you through your phone. We're echoing here, which means your device is up.
Yeah, what I'm saying, you hear me or you?
Yeah, we hear you. Oh, your
But your radio is still loud because we are echoing.
We're getting some feedback.
The radio is totally off.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Solid now. Good.
Right. What I'm saying is that the question of policy formulation, right? How you develop policy. Even ministers like I don't think that some of them are familiar with the whole.
We're not hearing you. You're breaking up a lot, caller. Probably you should change your location or something.
All right.
Or your radio on or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry about that, caller. Please call back.
Yeah.
You know, and callers, all callers, when you call, just talk to us on the phone through your device and don't listen to us on the radio. We will get a feedback if you too close to the radio, it's too loud. And we want to hear from you, the 12th man. You're important. You're very important, and we've been having some very solid contributions to this discussion. And we have identified the role that technology, AI is the ministry of what? What's the name of the ministry?
Public Administration and AI.
Public Administration and AI.
Yeah.
There's a contradiction?
Well, I think...
I feel so. It should be public admin and paper. The AI you say? You sure you live in here?
Well, I think it's a visionary shift. Let me call it a visionary shift.
Okay.
In terms of how we do the thing.
Okay.
It's a visionary shift. And we expect public administration to be the leader in driving the change in how the country conduct its business on a day-to-day basis.
So we have a caller again. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, clearly.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
excellent.
The question of policy formulation and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Or policy identification, or right. The thing about not many politicians are aware of it, and the question about participatory democracy, where people are in fact, or the population, as you said, the constituency or the burgesses, whether in a
yes.
city or whatever, ought to be involved in the process of policy making.
Agreed.
Right? They believe that they know what is best for the people. That has been the trend over the years. They believe that they know everything, right? But as you rightly said, you need to look at the stakeholders. You need to look at the very said politicians have to be involved in the process, right? The experts and whatnot. You need to do that. And the only time I saw that, the year I saw that was with Ramesh Maharaj, with the dangerous dog bill, when they have meetings throughout the country and whatnot with respect to crafting, right, or drafting that piece of legislation. But the thing about it is that when you implement the policy, you also need, as one of your panelists said, you need to evaluate the policy to determine whether in fact it is working or is not working. But what normally happens sometimes, they make policy and they leave it, whether it works, it don't work, people complain about it, it's not working, it's affecting them adversely. Nobody cares.
Yeah, agreed.
And that is one of the problems here.
You must have measurements and a feedback loop to know the efficacy of that policy.
Yes, because and you do that through the process of evaluation.
Yes.
Yeah. You need to know whether you would hold on to you would keep the policy, you would tweak it here or there, or whether you go on to succession, bring it to be another policy. But the fact remains is that these are the things that I think that people must be aware of. And the population, I think most people not totally aware of these things. They don't understand the process and all that. Something I heard you spoke about the process mapping, I think, right? And
Yeah.
I would have liked him to elaborate that, because yes, you can use process mapping with respect to training. Probably if you're the same Clark 1,
Yeah.
you could probably map it through the Clark 2, the Clark 3, the 4, and the 1.
Brilliant. Yes, you understand it well.
Right. Well, I usually use that for studies, right? When you study, you put, So in the past, right, I'm no longer involved in that.
Yeah.
But I think that is critical.
Yes.
And another thing I think you spoke about is the quasi public organizations such as the RHA and whatnot.
Yes.
The question of accountability.
Beautiful.
And the minister, right. So they must be made to be accountable.
Yes.
And accountable to the minister. And I heard sometime over the weekend some trade unions saying that we get this and we have enough of this and we have enough of that. But in any serious country, you're not concerned with that, especially where this country is at now, where all the institutions have collapsed. You need the best, you need the brightest and the best. You need people who could perform, who could do the job. Because when you have problems like rats and all kind of thing, and the minister has to say, well, look, I have to do so and so and so. When is the regional authority supposed to be accountable to him?
Brilliant.
He probably seek some a report from them, right? So the thing about it is that the minister has to be conscious and be aware of what is required of him and what is required of those people under him.
Yeah.
The boards that they appoint and all that must report to him, and they ought to perform, or you get rid of them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Well, excellent contribution.
Yeah, excellent.
Listen, we have good people in the pavilion, you know. The 12 people. I think we have ex-players.
I feel so.
We have ex-players in the pavilion.
I feel we are sleeper selling inside.
Not everybody that comes to the match are novices like me.
We are sleeper cell.
You know, not everybody come in the party stand. You know, we know the people in the party stand, right? Sometimes we have ex-players.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have professionals.
Yes.
Sometimes we have very good.
Some veterans. Some veterans we have in this
correct.
Yeah.
So don't look at the 12-man slide because they in the little short pants and the little vest, the little parasol.
Yeah.
Don't look at it like that, you know.
We can't estimate the 12-man at
all. No.
Not in this match that taking place.
Especially on this program on the Third Empire on Street 90. 1.9 FM, we've been getting some very good contributions.
Yeah.
You know, not one person knows it all, and we want to say we welcome the contributions from the public and tune in the discussion, and don't be afraid to contribute and add, because one person say I ain't tongue too long.
Yeah.
But some of these people have been here a while.
Yeah.
And they can identify with some of the things that were working that no longer implemented. You know, I know they will feel about the AI.
I want to give you a experience.
Yeah.
Batsmen going to bat, ministers and so forth. So last week, you were running a supermarket down the road.
Right.
You were a grocer. Or last week, you were an engineer on a plant. And you become a minister next week. This is reality, you know. Some of these persons that become minister overnight believes, and I said it yesterday, they are more brighter than the technocrats. They did the brightest thing and all the ideas. They have the patent for ideas and the way forward and strategy, you know. They actually believe that. Yeah? And poison their mind into believing that I'm in charge. I heard one time someone said in Parliament, you're not in charge. You understand?
We have an obsession with being in charge. You know?
And they go. So I don't know what level of preparedness, yes, this team of batsmen had in terms of understanding. When you're in the wicket, the role you had to play. I remember some years ago, I worked in a company. I like to tell this real life story. Yeah? This is my story, not his story. Yeah?
Right.
And we had a football match. So them fellas say, Mitch boy, you big and tall, you know. We I know you're no footballer, by the way.
I know, but I know that.
I know footballer.
But they think you could play.
They think I could play.
They accuse you of being a footballer.
They accuse me of being a footballer of repute.
All right.
Of a sport I've never engaged in any real way.
Okay.
So, okay, they say you'll be the goalkeeper, you tall, you could dive so and block the ball, and you could dive so and block the ball. And let me tell you something. They say go down to the sports science game, we have a credit down there. I get gloves. I get a padded jersey. I get a boot so. I get a thing so. I was looking good.
You look good.
Here what happened? I actually believe I was a goalie, you know. No, my mind was poisoned.
They convince you.
My mind was poisoned by the outfit. And had me believing I was a goalie of repute.
Selvord, you got powers from this outfit?
I got powers.
You super grover?
Watch now. I'm going like this. I thought I had powers that I did not have.
Okay, we hear that already, yeah? We hear that in Trinidad.
I went in the goal. Let me tell you something. I got 19 goals that day.
Alone? 19 alone again?
Because I believe because of my attire, my outfit, the gloves, the kind of grips on the gloves, and so forth, the number of pegs, 8 peg, shoes I had on, the socks up to my knees. Yeah.
You were looking like a goalie.
Oh, I looked the role.
Something resembling a goalkeeper.
Something resembling a goalie. The end result demonstrated to me in a significant way. I was nowhere close to being a goalie. It was the first and the last time I entered that foray. And people actually believe when they take the position of minister and they swaying that powers, they actually feel they're anointed, you know. I'm going slow. I've worked with
anointed, you say, you know.
I've worked with many of them, and they actually believe saying the swaying and the sign that thing is a level of anointed oil and water, an emotional power bath. They have taken.
But we're responsible for some of that in ourselves.
And
because if they was taking Maxi, that wouldn't happen. If they was taking Maxi, Prado, let's do something there.
You know, we are responsible for that. For the batsman ego. When he walk in a room, we just rise. Or rise the minister here. Say, who you? I pay your salary. You buy behave yourself and come and tell me you come to work.
If they was taking a Maxi, that wouldn't happen. Caller. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, I'm President.
Yeah, Prezi.
Prez.
Oh, you make my evening. Because, you see, why you make my recognize? You see them ministers that we are is like square peg in wrong hole. Because imagine how I'm nominating and electing a representative for my constituency. They really know nothing about ministry, about the ministry basically. We just do nice and we community in the constituency so we go then.
Exactly. Brilliant evaluation.
But 2-3-4 days they end up in a ministry.
That will make you understand.
Until them go to school and go back to school to be with ministry and get professional, then is apprentice ministers. You know, they make no win. You know, I can't know to come on meeting. That's no. Because I be saying even them batsmen and them right now, they better find people to work in ministry, hire people to work in ministry. Because I tell you, both sides of the senior, or even if the elected one to claim government, all of them have to take a backseat. I want to hire ministers. Yeah, if they have no appointing no minister no way. Because right now, the power is in the permanent secretary. That is the boss of the ministry no. And she really not officially one is supposed to be the boss. It's supposed to be the minister of the time manager running the ministry. Let's find out your person, and that's all I get.
All right, thanks,
Well, Selvon, you say. Getting back to you, Mr. Selvon.
I want that.
Yeah, President.
President.
Good evening. Mr. Selvon, you say that you put on clothes, you put on shin pad and everything, glove.
Oh, Lord.
And you
I look good.
You transform.
I look good.
Into a goalie.
I look good. And people in the pavilion was actually believing where this man come from, boy. Oh, Lord, we just going nothing on this man.
Our next call. Let's call her. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, the umpires.
Good afternoon, caller.
I feel Price want to play and knock the team. No man income. And the team, you want to feel for a man. You like cricket bad, I look so let's feel blessed.
Mr. Selvon.
Yeah.
In the last team.
Yeah.
The former captain.
Yeah.
Tell a man he could start a century in a over, you know.
Yeah.
He tell a man he could make a century in a over, you know. Last over, you know.
Yeah.
I not to tell you how that went, right?
Yes, he a ball. And he get out.
We not to tell you how that went.
The bowler bowl and the stump fall.
But you count in 6 ball.
Yeah.
And the captain tell you, you have to score, you can't score a century, so you take the baton run out there. No, they put you in the post. But it's something, what about us, Mr. Mitchell? What about us with this power? Why it is we like I in charge? You know when you was in primary school and when they tell you to take all the talkers? You remember in primary school when they say, Selvon, you take all the talkers now. You can you there use the principal of the school?
Let me tell you something. You see, power, not a, you know, you say, give a man power and you'll see his true character and so forth.
Yes.
We don't need people in power, you know, we need people in leadership.
Right.
Leader is a different character.
Different discussion.
Different person and so forth. There's a level of humility. There's a level of ethics. Yeah. There's a level of humbleness and so forth. There's a level of wanting to serve. I spent 9 years in the government service. Few people know me, you know. I went to work. I went to serve the people here. And I always tell people that. Don't become no minister, no MP if you don't like people.
Yes.
If you don't have the humility to humble yourself and like people, to serve people.
Serving ain't easy, yeah? You can get water
if you're not grounded in some way. Because it's a people-centric business.
Yes.
Being a minister, being an MP is a people-centric, people-oriented. People, they look at you for inspiration to give off yourself and so forth. You're emotionally connected. You have to be spiritually grounded. You have to be able to meditate and so forth. Yeah? You have to be able to, you know, in some religion, you have to be able to lift that kundalini and so forth, to be able to give off yourself. But you can't be void of substance and content and want to give. You understand what I'm saying? So it is more than just, well, I have a degree.
Well, nobody does tell you that when they get a juicy, Mr. Selvon. They get a juicy and say, we the people.
Well, this is why the empire's here, you know.
Correct.
We're changing the whole nature of the game.
We see some kind of people come out to batter. We see some people come out to bat.
Deal with the batsman if the batting bad.
Oh my
I tell you what, the health batsman, he run out. 2 man in the wicket. I see he run out. I say, where you going? Go back in.
Where you running from?
We're going to rat up the road and you run out this pavilion because you see 2 rat in the pavilion and he run in the field.
You afraid rats.
I said, no. Go back in. Right? So in terms of how we construct the thing, you have to understand, humility is what we want. You come to serve the people. Yeah? Serve the people with humility, with a vision, right? Carry that vision to the ministry. Drill it down to the people. And so forth.
Because some of us are obsessed, I mean, and let's get back to, you know, where I am maybe more proficient. Because one of the major issues in the public service is the issue of promotion.
Yeah.
Is the issue of promotion, and with that comes discussions about authority. You know how much actors that have in the public service?
All right, let me pull back. I'm glad you say that. And every society, every organization, every home have guidelines, policies, and how things should be done, when it should be done, and how it should be done. The question I'll ask there, is there a policy, a guideline, a regulation that determines how promotion should take place in the public service? Yes or no? And we go back to the point a previous caller made when he asked about what is the Public Service Commission role and responsibility relative to effective management of the human resource in the public service. Would the batsman be engaging them to make sure those things that you mentioned are addressed post haste? Because if we're talking 10 that the labor batsman going to deliver, the Public Service Commission have a role relative to promotion, relative to job description, right? Relative to evaluation, relative to appraisal. And are they playing that pivotal role as the gatekeepers between the politicians and the state? That is the reason and the construct. We go back to Marlborough House now, at the caller bring, that the Service Commission were the gatekeepers to prevent the infiltration of the politician hand into the organization. The question we beg now, of the 41 legislators now, are the service commissions and they playing the role as designed by the Constitution? Yes or no? And if so, how effective are they playing that role? Rock and roll. Talk to me.
And well, I will posit an answer now, but I think that is something we can deal with separately. On the next occasion.
Have to look at that, because that could determine how long he batter.
That's a very deep conversation. But
he be batting
the
for
way
a while,
how the public service is stratified, there are people designated with the authority and the title to do such.
Good.
Many of whom are acting.
Who is responsible for the acting?
The people who put them to act.
Who put them to act? It's public servants.
Correct.
And who they fall under? The Public Service Commission?
Correct.
Obviously, we're getting somewhere. So, what I'm saying, the problem is not hard to solve, you know. If we walk through it step by step, I mean, I feel 5 of us in this room could run the country, you know.
No, but
because really and truly, what you're saying, there are guidelines, there are policy, we can identify who is responsible for what, when and how, and so forth. So then we could really piecemeal and solve problem. I'm a practitioner of Six Sigma. And we define our solution strategy using the DMAC method, and we'll get into that because we're going deep. Go ahead.
Well, let me carry it up the ladder, because I don't meet with the commission, but the commission exists.
Yeah.
The next question is who the commission answers to.
Go
if they're derelict of
well,
duty.
they're appointed by the president.
All right. On advice of whom?
The prime minister.
All right. So that's why I say to you, there is a nexus between the political directorate and what goes on in the public service. We try to shy away from it. We don't admit it. It's often stockpiled. Cousin, friend, auntie, daughter, son, brother. You understand?
So we creating our own problem we're complaining about.
That's
we're
exactly.
bathing in mud water and then saying how we the skin dirty so.
Correct.
Oh.
Correct. Because at the end of the day, there are people with titles that carry authority and carry responsibility. This is not the responsibility, and I want to repeat this, this is not the responsibility of the rank and file workers.
Agreed.
They're workers altogether, some total. But the rank and file workers do not get into these issues. Governance and how they running and how the ministry running and etc. That's not for the rank and file workers. It have executives. It have acting this and AO, what and what and what. There are people with different titles. Good. And if you doubt it, check their pay slip. Check their pay slip. Their pay slip will tell you that they're remunerated based on certain tasks.
Agreed.
Based on the execution of certain tasks. Now, when tasks are not achieved, are not executed, my pet peeve is like we like to blame the workers. We like to blame the rank and file workers, the driver, the mailman, the clerk. Good? And there are about 4 people under the clerk. 4 people. She can't get no holiday, she can't get no leave. 4 people had to go first. But when it comes to taking accountability, most times we pass it down. And the public service has been made to borne the sacrifice and the price of adjustment, of hardship. You always hear that horse, we always beating that horse. But when we scale it down, who, according to you, who are we really talking about? And what are some of these systematic issues that allow these problems to thrive?
Yeah.
And when you follow the snake and ladder, it go way, way up. Because there are certain things that cannot happen without certain people with certain signatures. You know that.
100%. Yes.
You know that.
Yeah.
That's why if you ever work in one of these organizations, they'll tell you, tomorrow wear proper shoes, the minister coming. Yes, you please, you get a case of water, get some juice. We'll let you make an order by Linda's. You follow the requisition yet? The PS is coming, you have to have some refreshments.
Yeah.
Pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
We like it. The boss come in.
Yeah.
Today. The rest of the days forget. But make sure he come in tomorrow. We just get a call. So let me move that desk. Let me clean up that fridge. That fridge that never working. Let somebody clean it down.
So two things come to mind. So you're talking about a human resource audit in the public service, because you're talking about a number of persons acting, people on 2 months contract, people on 1 year contract, and we must audit to see if all these things fall in line with good governance of the public service and where these approvals came from for these things to exist. Yeah? So there is one template, there is an easy template to formulate, and really and truly there's enough. Well, I see we like to give lawyers brief. We spend billions of dollars in lawyers. The positive thing about that, every ministry have a legal department. So if every ministry have a legal department, how we spending billions of dollars in legal fees out? That one puzzle me. Best we just don't want no lawyers in the ministry and just outsource it. That puzzled me to a large extent. But getting back to the substantive is that we had to do a manpower audit of probably the whole public service and so forth, and sort of regulate.
Starting with the commission.
If a man have a contract for 2 years or 3 years and it's continuous and for the last 5 years that's going on, then it's telling me we need someone in that position. It's not temporary no more. You understand? So, and we had to revise it and review it. I mean, I'm not familiar with how much it have or where it's located, but I've heard the talk before about the number of contract workers in the public service.
If you watch the parliamentary committees, when they interview and they question different public service commissions and etc., all they do is stand up and tell you where the problem is. They will tell you there how many vacancies in the service and this and that and the other. I don't really get the sense of accountability,
I'm glad you said. I want the pavilion to understand something. You said something that is so relevant for the pavilion to understand the role and function of the batsman. When a ministry goes before a public accounts committee of parliament or a joint select committee of parliament or anything like that, when a ministry goes, and I'm repeating it again, when a ministry goes before any of these committees, you don't see the minister with the ministry. You know why? Because the minister is not held accountable for the performance of the ministry. Hence the reason he's not the answer, no question why, when, and how. I just want to put that on the table, signed, sealed, and delivered, for people to understand the role of the. They don't know, so the empires had to make sure the pavilion understand roles and responsibilities.
It's a circus, in my view. They will tell you we have 89 vacancies, 3 people on suspension, 4 people died, 6 people are waiting for motion, and they give you a very, very narrative account of what happens. And after that, everybody going home.
And next year we come back with the
yet I hear more again.
How come it is we hear of agencies that weren't audited in 4 years, no auditor general report in 4 years, and 3 years?
That is why.
What puzzled me about that, and everybody is going to work, Lord.
Umpire Matterson has some questions to answer. Because when he posits the theory of pay for performance, the bias there is to the lower class. And the lower class will come. That is where the bias is.
Yes.
Because
how all the CEOs, for example, you have these agencies that I hear 4 years, no audited statement, and Lord. This and that and the other, and so what.
And they just get bonus.
The question is it law, public service regulation? Is it policy that these agencies be audited every year and an audit report sent to the Ministry of Finance? And so is it law?
Well, you brave to ask about law.
And if it is law, if that action is not done by those responsible, how do we hold them to account? Should they be employed next week?
The driver is who we have to hold to account, the mailman. The security guard.
I want to know.
Yeah. That is who we hold. Not the CEO. Not those on top there. He could come and say where all the problems are. We have a leak upstairs. We have a door that don't work on the second floor. He could tell you what all the problem is. And then we shake hands and go home. So when you talk about pay for performance, and I want to put it, Umpire Matheson is not here, but he will be here at another time. I'll ask him. When you talk about pay for performance, who are you talking about?
Who performance?
Who performance?
Who performance you measuring?
You talking about them down there. That's what we talking about, those down there. He talk about the mailman telling you the fella in the chat room, the driver, and give him an assessment and see how he doing. But he not talking about people up the ladder.
You know what the salary of the CEO of WASA?
I can't call them figures.
You know the salary of the CEO of TSTT? It's public domain, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Please God.
Do they have to perform?
And the question is why, and what is the expectation or the measurable audits of their delivery?
They'll tell you it's not their fault.
No, we put you there to solve the problem.
No, they will say it's not their
not
fault.
To point you, as a CEO, your position, not to point finger, but to take responsibility for the failures of the organization. That is what true management is, that the leader take responsibility. This is the only country I see where leadership don't take responsibility when an organization fails. We blame everybody else, as you say, the cleaner,
everybody below.
The guard, the driver, everybody. But you are the CEO, is the person held to account. This why in developed countries and so forth, the first thing as a company start to flounder, the first person to get rid of is the CEO. You know?
Bye-bye. Goodbye.
CEO, you're gone. Half your management gone. That's the first thing you fix, because they are the drivers of the deliverables. And if we country not getting those things that we expect from our agencies, the people who drive it as you won't have to go home, not the workers on the ground. Not the man who come and put on his shirt and down in the hole and tighten the pipe and so anything. Is the man who's setting the policies, the guidelines, the budget, making sure the tools and equipment are there for effective delivery of goods and services.
File workers that pass in a rush. So
every time
we do that with the policemen.
Yeah.
Good. The little constable who ain't going.
So we have high crime. We are rough of the. Get rid of the commissioner of police in charge. I heard. We talk in the first innings. We talk about the homeland batsman and vehicles and so forth. And that's something we had to get back to. He had to go back in the wicket, you know.
Yes. He will return to the wicket.
He had to get back in the wicket.
He will return to the wicket.
We counting down. We looking good. The pavilion. We appreciate the intervention and the feedback from the pavilion.
But we really have to decide on when we talk about pay for performance and productivity. Productivity from whom?
Yeah. And how it is measured.
The wheelbarrow.
At all levels.
The fellow with the wheelbarrow.
How we measure it at all levels.
Not the engineer.
How do we measure CEO performance? What are the metrics that we're using as batsmen, as a government, to measure the performance of CEOs, of
and
state
leadership.
enterprise,
Correct.
of ministries, permanent secretary performance in their ministries, because the minister is not responsible for delivery. The batsman is in the wicket to set an overarching philosophy and a vision for the ministry, but the PS drives delivery.
So what I tell Umpire Matheson is that we're hypocritical in that we have one expectation
for one group and a different for the other
workers, and the other group of workers, oh my God, they are appointed until death.
We had to fix that, and we hope the Labour batsman understand that.
Correct.
In his delivery.
Everybody.
I know how to put that measurement at all levels they are measuring.
Everybody, no excuses. We don't want any excuses. And that is why I believe we don't have change in the public service.
Yeah, because we the wrong thing we keep changing.
Because
the man we had to send them is not the workers when things are hard, you know. Send them half the management and see how effective and efficient place get.
No problem.
Send them the management.
There'll be no problem.
Send them home. CEO, go home. Changing the name and changing what we change? What TTRP and who are P and Revenue Authority. That don't solve problem. Change the head.
Yeah.
Change the level of incompetence and the
at the top.
At the top.
And let me come down.
It's poor leadership.
Correct.
Poor measurements of performance at the leadership and management level of
look at
all agencies. TSCT failing miserably. But we're looking to close down all the little B-mobile so and send them the workers, and then when the management is a failure to some extent, we had to measure it. There must be a measuring tool for WASA, for NGC.
You say failure, but UNC they pay slip. That is what UNC. UNC they pay slip. They don't have to go on the road and go in the hot sun and march for money and say comrades. But
it was a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We see you all tomorrow.
And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
You want to find something great to do with your Tuesday nights? You want to learn and understand the true reason for Jesus? Then join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. for the program, This Same Jesus, the program that puts Jesus in his rightful place in our hearts and in our homes. Let's bring church home to you. Join us every Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. with your hosts, Kempes and Kevin. Be inspired, be blessed right here on the street 91.9 FM.
Falling in love with Jesus.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
This is the voice of Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist. We are preaching Emergency Alert broadcast, which is from the Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist Church. We will be featuring voices of brethren from different parts of the world, preaching the